Hola. Absolutely fantastic. Good to have you guys join us today. All right. Before we get started and we get cracking with our session today, I would love to know where you are joining us from. Okay. I'm currently in Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada. So just type into the chat where you're joining from. Okay. Ifeanyi is joining from France. Okay, we have quite a number of people today. Timile is from the UK, Peter, UK, Chike, Nigeria, Precious, Ontario. Absolutely fantastic. Lara from Ottawa, David from the UK, Leicester, phenomenal. Good to have you all join us today. We're going to have an amazing time. We'll take the next 1 hour to 1.5 hours understanding how you can transition into the tech ecosystem using your previous and your current work experience. So most of the time, people are stuck because they feel like I worked as a banker back in Nigeria. Now I'm in the UK. My banking experience or my banking knowledge is useless, especially if I want to get into data analytics. So I've done logistics or customer service. How do I transition? How would my 10 years experience back home, how does it still stay relevant when making that switch? And that's what our session today would center around. And I'll guide you through how we've done it for people, how other people have been able to take advantage, leveraging their past experience, current experience to land jobs. It's all about packaging yourself, presenting yourself as the best person for the job. If you tell people that you're a beginner, you're not going to get that job. But if you tell people that you've been doing it and you've done it before and you can do it for them, then you will start to get those opportunities. All right. So let's get started. I'm going to drive our session today using my slides. The session will be recorded. If you want to get the recording at the end of today's session, ensure that you fill the attendance form. The attendance form would be sent from time to time. My colleagues will send that in the chat. Fill the attendance form so you get all my materials today. Today is going to be very practical. I'm going to get down into the nitty-gritty and show you exactly what you need to do. All right, so let's dive in. And I'll do that by sharing my screen. We do a little bit of introduction, and then we get into the meat of our session today. Okay, so if you are joining us for the first time as well, I'd like to know that you're joining for the first time. So just type in number one into the chat. If this is your first Tenalytics session, typing in 1 into the chat. Okay, so we have a lot of newcomers. Absolutely brilliant. You're all welcome to the session today. You are all welcome, and I hope you have an amazing time. We will have an amazing time. If you have a friend, you have a colleague, you have a family member that you think can benefit from today's session, please share the message with them, get them on board, let them be here with us today and also get amazing insights from our session today. So how do you secure jobs, especially within the tech ecosystem? If you're in the UK, the US, or Canada, we have quite a number of you here with us today. I'm also in Canada. I've lived in the UK, and you get to understand how your experience plays out when it comes to getting the job. And I'll share my experience with you, and I'll also walk you through every single thing you need to do. So let's start. Who is Tenalytics and what are we all about? Tenalytics is a leading educational technology company, and the focus for us is helping Africans in Africa and Africans in the diaspora to transition into the tech ecosystem. And we do this by providing best-in-class technology training across different areas, from data analytics to business analysis, data science, data engineering, and so on and so forth. And over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people make the transition from the classroom to getting their first jobs in the tech ecosystem. So how have they been able to do this across all the regions, from the UK to the US to Canada, across Europe, in Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, and so on and so forth? But how have we been able to do this? And I'm going to share my experience with you and the experience of other people who join sessions like this and they took the step to starting their journey. And today, they have amazing success stories, which I'll get to share with you. All right. And for me, my name is Adeza. I have a decade experience in data analytics and management consulting. So I started my career as a management consultant, and I have a degree in industrial chemistry. So I had no experience, no tech background, but I've been in the data space for close to over 10 years. So how was I able to do it? Industrial chemistry, nothing related to tech. I've seen questions coming in the chat already saying, oh, I'm a beginner. I've never done this before. I don't have any experience. You don't need to have any experience. All right. And that's simply because the tech ecosystem is heavily skill-based. You learn the skill, you do certain things, and you are able to land the job. And that's why we are here today. And I'll share exactly how you can get that done and how other people have done this already. Through Tenalytics, we've been able to help over 2,000 people navigate the job market to land their very first jobs in the tech ecosystem with no knowledge, no background. I've worked in the UK and in the US as a data science consultant. I've worked as a data analyst in the business performance unit of one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. And I've also worked as a data analytics consultant with FITC, owned by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the NDIC, and also the Bankers Committee in Nigeria. I've worked across 5 different sectors, from energy to sports to educational technology, automobile, and so on and so forth. I currently reside in Alberta, Canada, and there was a reason why we moved to Canada, and I'll share the story a little bit into our session today. Ifemina is the co-founder of Tenalytics, also a decade experience in data analytics, data science, data engineering, and so on and so forth. Ifemina is currently a data science contractor across multiple regions. He's worked with the Post Office in the UK as a data support, business data support lead, data analytics manager with Tizer in the UK, global business systems analyst with Teleflex, a medical technology company, and in so many other roles. Ifemina is also in Alberta, Canada as well. And together, we run Tenalytics. And I'm going to give you amazing insights today across 4 different areas. First of all is, how do you use your past and current work experience to secure jobs within the tech ecosystem? Then, which specific career path should you focus on if you want to get a job? Because there are so many areas, but the most confusing part of it is, which area do I focus on? People are always confused. Do I go for this or go for that? All right. And I'll be sharing with you how you can also navigate the space. And we have an upcoming program next week, Saturday, 2nd of November, and I'll be introducing you to that. And finally, I have an amazing, amazing discount for everybody here today. And I'll be sharing that towards the end of our session. Okay. Now, it always seems impossible until it is done. People always ask the question. I worked as a customer service professional in the bank for over 5 years. Now I've moved to the UK. I moved with my husband. I'm independent. My husband is doing his master's, and I want to get a job. I want to transition into a career path that is progressive, into a data analytics career path or a business analysis career path. How do I do that? I have customer service experience. What do I do with my experience? Do I lose my 5 years of experience, or can I leverage that experience to get a job? So I'm going to show you how you can leverage that experience, and also show you how people have been able to leverage their experience to get jobs. All right, so I'll share a few success stories with you before we dive into the main meat of our session today. And here comes Lois. Lois, just like many of you, moved to the UK for her master's. Lois had a background in accounting, and she worked in procurement back in Nigeria. Zero experience in tech. She joined our business analysis program, and today, Lois was able to secure a role as a project manager with a company in the UK after completing her training. So she did business analysis and she got a job as a project manager. I'm going to come down to that and explain a little bit more. How is that even possible? How does business analysis translate to project management? And that's why it's important for you to understand how to apply when applying to a job. So for most people, it's always a straitjacket. Oh, I've done business analysis. I can only get a job as a business analyst. But that's not always the case. As a business analyst, part of the things you learn includes project management. So I want you to write down somewhere on your notepad so you don't forget, because I won't forget. I will dig deep into Lois's experience, how she was able to get this job as a project manager after completing our business analysis program. So that's a professional. She's done accounting, procurement, nothing related to business analysis, nothing related to project management, but she got a job in the tech ecosystem. You have Ngozi. For those that joined a little bit early, you would have heard Ngozi talking about her experience. Okay, Ngozi has a background in customer service and HR, zero experience in tech. She joined business analysis as well, trained with us. We prepared her for our interview, just like we did for Lois. And Ngozi was able to secure a business analyst role with a company working remotely, fully remotely, and she lives in Huddersfield in the UK. You have Toyin. Toyin worked as a pharmacist back in Nigeria. No tech background, no experience. She joined our data analytics program, and Toyin was able to secure a benefit analyst role with the NHS in the UK. Her job came with full visa sponsorship, and she got this job just after 1 month after training with us. Okay, so how is that even, how does that work? How do I get a job 1 month into my program? I haven't completed the program yet, but I'm getting a job. So how was Toyin able to do this? So I'm going to share my slides with you at the end of today's session. So I've kept the links for you to listen to these amazing, amazing professionals. So you get to hear their story and you get inspired by what they've done. But I'm going to play Lois's video for you because I want you to listen to Lois and I want you to start tapping into the experience of how people have been able to make that switch. All right. So we're going to have a Q&A session towards the end. So I know you have so many questions for me. So make a note of your questions. Don't forget your questions. And towards the end, it will take another 15 to 20 minutes to answer all the questions you have. All right. So we're going to listen to Lois and you'll hear what Lois has to say, how she was able to transition. Lois joined us. She was doing her master's. She couldn't apply to a full-time role because she was a student at that point. But when she was ready for the full-time job, we prepared her for our interview and she was able to secure that job. You also have somebody like Busola. Busola came to Canada. Busola joined our data analytics program in March this year. And by July, she secured a job as a performance analyst with Desjardins Insurance here in Canada. You also have Abigail. Abigail was a care worker. She worked in the care space. She was a care worker in Saskatchewan, Canada. She joined our business analysis program, and Abigail was able to secure a job as a business analyst with the government of Alberta here in Canada. So how did these professionals do it? How were they able to switch? Abigail had no experience in business analysis. She had never worked as a business analyst. She worked as a care worker here in Canada, but she secured this job after completing her training. Or every single person that gets a job outside their previous experience or current experience, most of it has to do with your what? Your CV, your LinkedIn, and finally, your portfolio. Okay, and we're going to zero down on these areas today, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do. But before we dive into that, let's listen to Lois. I promised I was going to play Lois's video. There are a lot of videos. I can't play all the videos for you, but I'll show you where on YouTube you can access these videos on your own. Going to YouTube, searching Analytics, going to our testimonials, and you have access to all these. videos. But let's listen to Lois and let's hear what Lois has to say. Okay, sorry, I'm going to share my other screen so that, okay. All right, so we're going to listen to Lois now and you hear what Lois has to say. I'm just going to be sure you can all hear the audio as I play Lois's video. Yes, you can hear the audio. All right. So Lois was very dramatic. So I'm going to warn you ahead of time, but I'm sure you'll listen to the passion and you'd enjoy Lois's story. So sit back, relax, and let's listen to what Lois has to say.
Hi guys, my name is Lois. I joined Tenalytics Business Analysis class in November 2023 with zero knowledge of BA, even though I was doing my master's at the time, which was focused on the management part of business analysis, not the techniques, tools, or even the requirements. I am so excited, as you can see, because guys, I just landed my first tech job as a project manager. Let me tell you a bit about my journey. So before I joined Tenalytics, I was an accountant and a procurement expert, so I didn't even know anything about tech. Tenalytics was my first exposure to core BA training, and I learned so much. Things like SDLC, requirement elicitation, process mapping, project initiation and planning. And even apart from the BA training, they also helped me to develop myself through a lot of mentorship sessions that built me up in interview preparation, LinkedIn optimization, a day in the life as a BA, job search strategy, CV optimization, negotiation like a pro, career transitioning. Guys, it was a lot of value. I also ensured that I was actively involved in class. I mean, who didn't know Lois in the cohort? But after my training, I waited to complete my master's because I couldn't work full-time while studying. I then had my career plan mapped out, and my first goal was to get a job in a student-focused role because of personal reasons, and then transition to be a project manager. I mean, BA and PM are so relatable, and there were more project management roles in my city. So immediately I finished my studies, I leveraged on the CV skill, the interview skills that I had been taught to land my first job in the university in a student-focused role. And guess what? 6 months later, exactly 6 months later, I landed the job I'm talking about now as a project manager, double the salary. So thank you, Tenalytics. I'm so happy to be in the tech space, and I encourage everyone that want to upskill, that want to have a refresher course, to please do what? Join Tenalytics and be like me, because I mean, who doesn't want the money? Who doesn't want the skill? Who doesn't want to be in the tech space? So join Tenalytics.
So that's Lois. I always can't help myself listening to Lois. I have to laugh because she puts a smile on my face, and I'm sure for those of you listening, you must have gotten that same feeling. And that's simply because of the excitement. Lois, who had no experience, she's done accounting, done logistics, procurement back in Nigeria, but she was able to secure a job as a project manager after completing the business analysis program. And like I said, I'm going to zero down on that and show you how she was able to achieve that. I've also kept links where you can get to listen to other professionals who have done the same things. They've come from a different background, but they've been able to transition. How I secured a job after training with Tenalytics and so on. So for you to have my materials, the slides, ensure that you fill the attendance form. So we send this across to you at the end of today's session. So the big question is, how were these people able to make the transition? These amazing professionals, amazing people, how were they able to make the transition using their previous or current experience? So I'm going to walk you through this very quickly. In the next 10 to 15 minutes, what are the key things you must put in place? And there are 4 strategies I'll show you. 4 things you must do, the 4-step approach. The first step you must take is to learn the skill. Of course, it's a no-brainer, it's a given. You need to have the skills. Without the skills, you can't even think of applying to the job. That's the given. Every organization expects that if you're applying for a data analyst role, for a data science role, for a business analyst role, you must have the skill. So you start by learning the skill. Okay, so once you know the career path you're interested in, you have to learn. So you determine the role that you are interested in, very important that you have an interest in what you want to do. Then you start learning and you develop capacity in those areas. And finally, you must learn with a learning partner. Okay, emphasis on the learning partner. Because what does a learning partner mean? I can go on YouTube and learn, and that would be a waste of time. I can go on Coursera to learn, and that would be a waste of time. But why would it be a waste of time? You need to learn in an environment, a structured learning environment, where you have the opportunities to ask questions to real human beings. So you are learning how to use Excel, and you've done something that I've done, and you didn't get it right, you can't get it the same way. You have the opportunity to stop me and ask questions. Oh, what did you do here? This is what I'm getting. Can I share my screen? That's the best way to transition. Beginners who have never been in the space, learning on YouTube is the worst thing to do. I learn on YouTube. I can go on YouTube and learn something new today because I have the foundation, I have the background. All right. So those things will not be new to me. It will look strange. I can, connect the dots, put one and two together, and I understand exactly what I'm doing because I have a solid background. But you, without the foundation, you are getting started. It's important that you learn in a structured learning environment, first of all, and you have the ability to also ask questions, show what you're doing, and so on and so forth. And finally, you must be able to learn in an environment where you work on projects, real life projects, because these projects at the end of the day is what builds your experience. And I'll show you how this connects to what you're trying to do and how you use projects to gain experience. Remember, we are looking at you utilizing your past experience, your current experience to land that job in the tech ecosystem. Okay, so you must work on projects. You must have evidence that you've done these things before. So that's the first thing you must do. So these are the considerations. What am I interested in? What do I want to learn? Once you've identified that, you start learning. You choose a learning partner, and your learning partner must be a partner that is ready to support you by answering your questions, showing you what you've done wrong, providing you with projects that are real world case projects that adds to your experience. Once you've done this, you then need to add those skills to your CV. This is one of the biggest things you would ever get to do, tailoring your CV. Because your CV is something totally different from the new career path you are moving into. So how do you tailor that CV to look like where you are headed? Okay, so you must know how to match. So when you see jobs you're applying to or you want to apply to, you must know how to do what? Tailor your CV to those jobs. Okay, tailor your CV to those jobs. You must also know how to do something called job matching. All right, so you're applying to an agile project management role, for example, and you've tailored your CV. You must be able to take the job requirements of that vacancy and take your CV as well and match them together. And once you do a match, you should get the extent to which your CV matches that job. Sometimes you get 70%. Sometimes you get 65%, which means there are areas for you to improve on that CV to get a higher percentage. We always advise having 80 to 85% before you put in that application. So these are the things you must know how to do when working on your CV. Once you know how to tailor your CV, you know how to do job matching, the next thing is you must add flavors of your new career path into your previous experience. So you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a pharmacist, you're a customer service professional. How do you take your new career path, where you are going to, the career path you want to transition into? Say it's data analytics, for example. How do you add data analytics to your previous work experience? Because if you can't do this, you would face a whole lot of issues. People would perceive you as a beginner. If you send in that CV where your previous experience says customer service professional or says nurse, and now you're showing that, okay, I started learning data analytics in the month of October, and I'm going to complete it sometime next year in, say, February or March 2025. Every employer would perceive you as a beginner, and nobody wants to hire a beginner. Nobody wants you to learn at their own expense. So you have to show them that you haven't just started doing this. You have the experience, you have the skills, and you can come into the company to add value on day one. Okay, so how do you add a flavor of your previous experience, a flavor of your current career path into your previous experience? I'll give you a very quick example. All right, so once you've joined Tenalytics, for example, say you are learning with us, you are not a learner. On day one, you realize that you are neither a student nor a learner. Joining Tenalytics means you are a contractor or a consultant. Tenalytics is your work experience. And that's what people who join the program get to enjoy. One of the things recruiters would want from you is a reference before you are confirmed. And they would ask, I want to get a reference from your previous experience, your previous employer, where you've worked before in any capacity. You volunteered there, or you were a contractor, you were a consultant, you worked part-time. Where have you done the things you say you can do for us? We want to speak to them, or we want them to tell us that you have the skills to do the job. So Tenalytics is your first work experience. So your CV typically would look like this. Your first professional experience would be, say you want to move to a data analyst role. You'd have data analyst, Tenalytics, and you have from this point till this point, from these dates till these dates. And you have your achievements and responsibilities clearly listed. Now, how do you then come up with all these achievements as part of your work experience? This is where the case studies, the real life projects that you've worked on, this is where they play. This is where they come in. So those projects you've worked on as a data analyst, you've completed projects on Excel. The things you do on Excel are case study based, meaning that they are real life scenarios, they are real life problems that I have worked on in the past. So we create and couch those experiences into case studies so that you can also work on them. So the same problems I've solved in the past, you are solving the exact same problem. The difference is the name of the company has been changed and the data has also been changed due to data privacy and so on and so forth. So those projects, those case studies become a part of your experience, and that's what you list out. Because guess what? The same things you do while working on the projects and working on your case studies, working on during your internship with us are the exact same things you do as a full-time professional. So your very first experience is with Tenalytics. And I'll show you examples, real-life scenarios of everybody I showed you in the previous slide, all use the same strategy. Care worker, now a business analyst. How did they do it? I work with Tenalytics, I'm a contractor, I've done this, I've done that. This was what I did as a business analyst, and I can do the same for you. They start to see you differently, not as a learner, not as a beginner, but somebody who has knowledge and expertise in that area. Okay, but looking at this snapshot of the CV I've posted here, there is a problem. So here you have data analyst, your first experience. Okay, and then right here you have customer service representative and your experience as a customer service rep. So this is a typical CV of somebody who wants to transition and they're not doing things the way they should. So yes, we put Tenalytics at the top. But then right below, you have customer service, and then you manage 300 calls from customers every day. You mentor new employees on the company software. You place 200 plus customer orders every week. Everything listed there has nothing to do with data analytics. And this is where the problem starts from. So whoever is reviewing this, first of all, will not see enough keywords in your CV passing through the ATS for you to get called for an interview. So the ATS is the applicant tracking software or the applicant tracking system. And this would use keywords from both the job requirement and your CV and see the CV that best matches the keywords on the job requirement. And those are the CVs that will be looked at to be called for interviews. So you want to ensure that you have enough experience, enough achievements in those areas. So how do you address this problem as a customer service professional? And I'm going to show you how, part of the things you need to do. So you have customer service experience. How are you now working as a data analyst? Where did the experience come from? And this is where you must add a flavor of your current career path into your previous experience. So you've been in customer service, you want to move into data analytics. You must add data analytics achievements and responsibilities as part of your customer service experience. It's a no-brainer. You have to do that so that the keywords on your CV would get matched and you get called for an interview. Okay, and this is how it would look like practically. So this is Biola. Biola is a customer service representative, 5 years experience, and Biola wants to transition to a data analyst role. Okay, Biola's current job says customer rep, and she has her responsibilities, which she says she calls customers every day, 300 calls. She identifies opportunities for renewals. She mentors new employees in the company on the customer service software, and so on and so forth. All her experience is tailored towards what? Customer service. So how do you start to shift away from core customer service responsibilities to a data analyst responsibility? And this is where you start adding flavors to your past experience. Okay? And I'll show you how you should do this practically and some considerations along the line. So once you look at your current experience and then you have an aspired data analyst role. So you want to move into a data analyst role. Customer service has nothing to do with data analytics. So the job title must start to sound like something in the analytics space, like a customer insights analyst, for example, where rather than saying you called customers, 300 customers a day, you talk about how you gathered and analyzed 300 plus customer feedback using Excel to increase customer resolution time by 50%. So you're shifting from the core customer service responsibilities to something that is more analytics related, using Excel to analyze over 300 customer feedback, identifying how to resolve those customer issues, which increase the resolution times by 50%. Okay, so step by step, Biola would need to, first of all, change her job title. The job title must sound like something more exciting. So when you start your data analytics journey with us, you've worked as a customer service professional, you want to get into a data analyst role, your job title at Analytics would start to change to read something like what? Customer Insights Analyst. This is more analytics related, and it's easier for people to see that, okay, you are doing things that are analytics related, aligned with your past experience, and this makes sense for us to bring you on board. So that's the first thing you have to consider. You can't put care worker, support worker, and the next thing you want to get into is a business analyst role. It doesn't work that way. Usually those experiences that are non-relevant, you take them out, or you do what? You reshape and convert them to something that looks like this. So customer service rep changes to what? Customer insights analyst. Now, you talked about how you manage 300 plus customer calls every day in your past experience. But now you have analytic skills. You know how to use Excel. You know how to use Power BI. So what are you doing with Power BI and Excel as a customer insights analyst? You gathered and analyzed 300 plus customer feedback using Microsoft Excel. And this led to what? A customer resolution times. You increased customer resolution times by 50%. Meaning that if it took us 24 hours to solve customer problems, because of the analysis I did with Excel on 300 customer feedback, we started to resolve customer problems in only 12 hours. So instead of 24 hours, I was able to reduce it to 12 hours using Excel as a tool. So you see how the roles starts to shift and starts to change. All right. And I'm going to answer the questions running through your mind right now. I'll answer that when I've gone through all of this. So that's the first one. The next one is your previous experience as a customer service rep. You talked about how you train new employees on how to use the customer service software. So maybe you use HubSpot, you use Freshdesk, you use Zoho, CRM, whatever CRM you use. You train new employees using that particular platform. You want to change that, okay, to what? Mentored 55 new employees in the use of Power BI and SQL. For you to teach somebody Power BI and SQL, you agree with me that you must have good knowledge using those tools. So you want to start to show that I wasn't doing conventional customer service work, but I was also training people in the use of SQL, in the use of what? Power BI. Then you move to the next achievement. A typical customer service role would say what? Handled customer questions and complaints. Converting that to something more data analytics related, because that's where you want to get into. You talk about how you did what? Analyzed customer complaints using Excel to identify major pain points and recommended mitigating strategies. And this improved the customer satisfaction score by 40%. So here you're not talking about just listening to customer complaints over the phone. You are talking about how you were able to analyze the customer complaints, doing a sentiment analysis, all right, to identify the pain points of those customers, and you recommended mitigating strategies. And this improved the customer satisfaction scores because customers were now happy that, okay, their problems have been solved, you've identified where the issues are, and so on and so forth. And of course, you also have identified opportunities for renewals and upselling additional products, which is what customer service professionals do. Typically, when you're buying something, over the phone, they try to upsell to you another product or another service so that you add that to what you're already buying. But rather than saying something as conventional as that, you want it to sound analytics. You want it to sound analytical, how you use an analytic tool to do something similar to what you have done, which is what? You carried out customer basket analysis using Power BI to identify opportunities for upselling additional products or services. So what is a customer basket analysis? This is simply saying that, let's assume you have a store, okay, on Amazon. You sell products on Amazon, or what Amazon does usually. Amazon does not just analyze what you buy. They analyze the different products you buy together. So let's take, for example, you buy a phone pouch on Amazon, and the next thing you buy is a pen And after buying the pen, the next thing you buy is a pair of shoes. So Amazon would want to know the type of products that matches together easily. So when a customer buys a phone pouch, what are they likely going to buy next? Or they are likely going to buy a pen. Once they buy a pen, what's the likely product they'll take next? Or the next likely product is a pair of shoes. So that's basket analysis, seeing what customers are buying together. And once you know what customers buy, once they buy this, the next thing they buy is that. You can recommend those products or services to new customers. So once a new customer comes to shop on Amazon and they buy a phone pouch, Amazon would recommend a pen to them because that's what other customers usually buy. So the likelihood that you will buy the same is very high. So that's a basket analysis. So you talk about how you did that, carried out basket analysis from the customers to identify opportunities for upselling additional products or services. And finally, you are able to do what? Convert your customer service experience into what? Something that is analytics related. Now, bear in mind that every single thing you have on your CV, you must be able to defend, and you must have done them before. You can't put anything on your CV that you haven't done before. So the question now is, all the things I have indicated here, the basket analysis, I talked about how I analyze customer complaints to identify pain points, improving satisfaction score. I talked about training and teaching people in the use of Power BI and Excel. And I also gathered and analyzed customer feedback, increasing resolution times. You must go and work on these projects so that when you're asked questions during interviews, you can explain. Very important. And I'll talk about the projects, how you come about the projects, and how you work on projects like this. So when you see a customer service professional transitioning from customer service to data analytics, you must add a flavor of data analytics into your previous experience. And this is what makes employers start to see you differently. Once you've worked on your CV, the next thing is to optimize your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn is your representation in your social persona as a professional. Your CV is a representation in paper formats. Your CV, your LinkedIn, is your social persona that must align to the career path you are moving into. So you must ensure that your LinkedIn profile also mirrors where you want to get to. So if all you have been posting about on LinkedIn is something unrelated to data analytics, remember, you're a customer service professional, you want to move into data analytics. So you must start posting about data analytics related subjects, data analytics related topics. You see that project you just completed, talk about it on LinkedIn. And I'll show you how people are doing this currently in the Tenalytics program. And that's where you start to create and attract recruiters to yourself. You start to attract recruiters to yourself because they can see that, oh, fantastic CV. Let's check you out on LinkedIn. And they see that, oh, today you talked about the CRISP DM framework. Tomorrow you talked about a new feature on Power BI. The day after you talked about something totally different, the McKinsey model, a framework for data analysts in solving problems. That's what recruiters want to see. They don't want to go to your LinkedIn and see that you post things that are unrelated to the career path you are moving into. LinkedIn is your social proof. LinkedIn shows your persona, who you are, and it must always align to the career path you are moving into. Okay, and in doing all of this, you want to also leverage Tenalytics. Like I mentioned at the beginning, your CV, your LinkedIn must have Tenalytics. This helps position you as an expert. If you don't have experience, you don't talk about the career path you are moving into, what you are simply saying is, hey, potential employer, potential recruiter, I am a beginner, I don't have knowledge, I don't have experience, I'm going to learn on the job. Nobody wants you to learn on the job. Yes, they will train you when you get in, but they don't want you to learn on the job. They want you to add value on day one. All right. So it's very important that every single step that you take when making that transition, you consider your new career path into what you have done before and what you are doing currently. So if you're on a customer service role today, anybody listening to me, you are on a care worker role, you are on a nurse, you are a nurse at the moment, or you are a teacher, and you want to become a data analyst, start gathering data related to your area. If you're a teacher, gather student records, analyze using Excel, because as you learn Excel, you know how to analyze that type of data. As you learn Power BI, you know how to use Power BI to analyze data related to customers and so on and so forth. And that's how you start to position yourself for the future. So a typical LinkedIn would look like this. And this is a real LinkedIn profile of somebody who has gone through Tenalytics. And you see clearly right here, what's her role? Her role is a data analyst with Tenalytics. And this professional, this fantastic professional, leveraged this to get her new job as a performance analyst with a company called Desjardins Insurance. And she started this job this year in July, a few months ago, and she's currently still on that job. So when you represent yourself, any recruiter that goes to your LinkedIn profile and they see this, they know exactly that the fact that you have data analyst experience here with Tenalytics, you know what you're doing, you have the skills, and you can do the job. So what happens typically is they reach out to us for what? References. So we fill a reference, we talk about, okay, this is how good you are. These are your strengths and your weaknesses. This is the best way to manage you, because those are the type of questions recruiters would want to know. How do we manage this professional? What are their strengths and weaknesses? Okay, were they always absent? What was absenteeism like? And so on and so forth. And these are the reports we provide back to these organizations. So if you put learner or you put trainee, or you don't even have anything related to the career path you're moving into, you are really you're not serious to get that job. All right. So these are the things you must put in place. It's a 4-step strategy. You learn the skill. You know how to tailor your CV, do your job matching, have a CV that not just say you are doing the job right now, but you've also done things related to the new career path you're moving into. You've done them in the past. Then you optimize your LinkedIn profile to align with your CV. And of course, one of the best things you want to do, which would come back as a massive advantage, is the opportunity to get a reference from Tenalytics when you get that offer from the company you're applying to. And this is what gets you the job. So the idea that my previous experience, I have 10 years experience, 5 years experience, would that be lost? Would it be useless or wasted because I'm moving into a business analyst role? It's a big no. Every single experience you have matters. If you have 5 years experience, fantastic, you utilize that. If you have 2 years experience, you utilize that. So you must start working on projects today. And that's what Project does for you. Projects, you don't have to go to the office to gain experience. You don't have to go to a physical location to gain experience. You can gain experience by working on what? Projects. And those projects would be kept somewhere called a portfolio. And I'll show you portfolios and what the portfolios look like. So portfolios are your proof of experience, proof that you've done it before. And this shows you the depth. It shows employers the depth of your skills. All right. So if you're on a customer service role, like I said, you must start working on projects that are customer service related. If you're in the health sector, you are a doctor, you are a nurse. We have a pharmacist, we have doctors, we have lawyers that have come into Tenalytics and they've transitioned to become data analyst, business architect, business analyst, and so on and so forth. You must start working on projects related to your current career path. Very, very important. Okay, that's the first thing you must do. Secondly, you must also what? Tailor your previous experience to your aspired career path, which I showed you a mirror of what a customer service role would look like now and what it would look like when you're transitioning into a data analyst role. So what would your portfolio look like? All right. How do you show people that you've done this before? Your portfolio is your showroom. It's like you selling furniture. You need people to see the furniture you sell. They need to be able to touch, feel it. When you go to an IKEA store, they set a sample for you to look at. You look at the sample, you see how, when you go to Costco, the same thing. You see the sample of that couch. You can touch the couch, you can feel it, you can see how good it is before you buy. Without a portfolio as your showroom, employers would struggle to believe that you can do the job. So I'll show you what a portfolio looks like typically. We're going to look at the portfolio of a data analyst, we'll look at the portfolio of a data engineer, and then we'll come back to talk about different career paths that will get you that job the fastest, irrespective of what you've done before. Okay, so let's look at Victoria's portfolio. Victoria is a data analyst. She joined our program. Everybody, like I said, I've been singing this right from the beginning. You gain experience by working on what? Real world projects. So let's check out Victoria's portfolio. So once I click on this, it takes me to Victoria's portfolio, and everybody would have a portfolio. So this is Victoria's portfolio, data analyst portfolio, and it shows all the projects she's worked on, or her most relevant projects, depending on what you put in there at the end of the day. So this is an analysis for a hospital called Deep Care Hospital. She did an analysis for the emergency room. Okay, she did a visit analysis to show how many patients come into the ER, how quickly do they attend to these patients. And based on the analysis, she gave a recommendation that helps to reduce patient wait time by 15% and increased the patient's rating by 20%. So this is Victoria, who has zero healthcare background, but Victoria wants to get a job with the NHS. So Victoria wants to work on projects that would attract the NHS to her. So she must show that she has done things within the healthcare space. All right. So if you look at this particular analysis, you can interact with it. If I come in here and I click on this, it takes me to the reports that Victoria built, the dashboard she built using what? Tableau. And it is public. So this is equivalent to your showroom. You sell furniture. People can visit your furniture showroom, touch the couch, touch the dining, see the color, feel the quality before they go ahead to buy. So employers want to see that you can do the things they want to hire you to do. So anybody who looks at this dashboard knows that Victoria can use Tableau. She can build reports. You can interact with it. So once you get my slide, you can click on the link. It brings you to this same space. You can interact. If you click, say, for example, I want to see the number of ER patients that came into the hospital in only Q1 from January till March. I can come here, deselect everything and select only Q1, and you'd see that it changes in line with what I'm clicking and not clicking. And that's what you want to have. So this would impress anybody to want to have a conversation with you. So in Q1, we had 1,450 ER patients, an average age of 40, average wait time of 36 minutes, and average satisfaction score of 4.99. You have, categories of the patients based on their race, white, African American, and so on and so forth. And this shows clearly how good you are with the skills you say you know how to use and you're bringing to the table eventually. So this is Victoria and so many other projects she has. Okay, Redux Airlines, flight analysis, this is for aviation, Express Tech food delivery, this is for logistics. And like I said, projects is the best way for you to build experience. And all these projects you see, when you go back to the CV and you have data analyst, data engineer, whatever the case is, the program you register for with analytics, these would form your what? Your responsibilities, the things you did, your achievements, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's also look at Nwachukwu Gad Nwachukwu, who is a data engineer. So you have a business analyst. You can explore this yourself once you receive my slide at the end of today's session. But remember, to get the slides, you must ensure you fill the attendance form. So if you haven't done that, once you see my colleague sharing this in the chat, click on it, fill the attendance form so you have access. Okay, so you can check the business analysis, and there are so many, but I just selected a few for you to look inside. So if you go to Gad's portfolio, this is a portfolio for a data engineer. So Gad wants to become a data engineer, and he's going to speak to other his hiring manager who will be a data engineer to get opportunities eventually. Now, how does he prove, or how does he show that he has experience? He has created an ETL pipeline as a data engineer. The only way you can prove is by having a portfolio like this. All your portfolio will be on GitHub. The data engineer, the data analyst, the business analyst, the HR analyst, your portfolio is on GitHub. So this is Gad. Now let's check one of the projects that Gad has worked on. So this is a project on energy residential building model. So let's open this up. So this is where Gad was analyzing residential buildings and coming up with a recommendation model on energy efficiency. So it talked about the objective. What was the objective of the project? Talked about the data sets that he used, the models he was able to build, how he trained and evaluated those models, his key findings, influential factors, significance, applications. So anybody who looks at this sees a clear-cut structure to what Gad has posted, okay? And I can look at his code base. I can check his code and see clearly the lines of code he has written using Python. If I come in here and I click on the Python notebook, I can see exactly what he's done. And there is no better way to show somebody that you're the right person for the job. All right, so you see all the libraries he used, okay? And you can see every single thing that he did step by step as a data engineer. You can go through his Jupyter notebook, how he cleaned the data, the cleaning the blanks, how he was able to scale the data set before he started splitting, doing his data visualizations, and so on and so forth. Anybody who looks at this knows Gad Nwachukwu knows exactly what he's doing as a data engineer. He can build pipelines, and they would ask you questions around what you've been able to build. That's why you must have what? A showroom. That's why you must have a showroom. So I can see questions coming up. I'm going to take your questions, like I said, at the end of the session, okay? At the end of the session, so that we have an interaction, okay? But your showroom is very important. Your portfolio equals your showroom. So this is how you show recruiters. There is a full session on this that our participants in-house usually goes through. We walk you through your CV sessions. You have 3 sessions, and you also have recorded sessions that shows you clearly what you need to do. So let's say you're a Tenalytics participant, for example. You have the LMS, you log into the LMS, and you go to the mentorship program. Say you registered for data engineering or business analysis, you click on view, and one of the sessions you're going to find under mentorship is CV optimization. If you open up the CV optimization sessions, you see a session where, a 2-hour session, where I walked you through how to use ChatGPT to tailor your CV, irrespective of the career path you are coming from. You're a teacher, you're a nurse, whatever the case is, you are able to make this switch. So you can watch this, follow the steps. It's a practical session, step by step. We went into ChatGPT, opened up a CV, and one step after the other, we transitioned from a role to another role. So these are sessions you get. You learn how to use technologies like JobScan. You learn how to use Job Analytics, ChatGPT, and so on and so forth to help you with your CV optimization. Okay, so this is just giving you an example of the type of sessions that you get to have so that at the end of the day, you are able to easily make that switch and make the transition. But the question a lot of people would ask is, the demand is massive, but where are the opportunities? I hear that tech, oh, is digital marketing tech? Oh, I've heard these questions. People always ask me, Adeza, is digital marketing tech? Is this tech? Is that tech? How can I get into the tech ecosystem? Where are the opportunities? What career path should I consider if I want to transition? And there are massive opportunities irrespective of where you are. You're in the UK, US, Canada, the opportunities are massive. Number one is the US. In terms of opportunities, US is number one. Number one is the US. Number two is the UK. And Canada comes number three. And this is looking at the major economies, okay? But not limited to these regions. But the level of the amount of opportunities and resources you have in the US and the UK are incomparable when you look at Canada. Not saying that there are no opportunities in Canada. The opportunities are massive, but in terms of numbers, the US and the UK are massively, you have massive opportunities available within those regions. So the question is, where should I start from? Which career path should I move into? So for us, we've had a massive ground. We've covered a lot of grounds in the UK, for example. A lot of our participants come from the UK. In the NHS alone, we have over 55 Tenalytics alumni working for the NHS in different areas, from data science to data analytics to business analysis, business architects, and so on and so forth. And most of the time, these jobs come with what? Visa sponsorship. And that's the reason why a lot of people target the NHS. So we decided end of last year, 2023, that we're also going to have the same massive impact in Canada. So we moved to Canada to also give that type of massive impact to the Canadian market. And that was why, if you remember at the beginning, I mentioned that we moved to Canada this year. Efemena, the co-founder, Efemena moved in December 2023. I moved in January this year. And one of the first things we did, we were able to get into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity program. It's a very difficult program to get into. So they only accept innovative companies that are ready to grow and scale. And what we are doing is to ensure that we can bring more value and impact to the Black community within the space. So we got into this program in October this year, very recent. We started on the 1st of October, and it's been an amazing journey so far. So you can read about that here. I made a post on LinkedIn, and there is also a post on Tech Cabal on this, which you have access. You can read about this at your own convenience once you get the slide, okay? It's on Tech Cabal, Tenalytics Secure Sports in the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity program. Absolutely phenomenal. It's a good read, and this shows you the impact we are trying to also put within the space. But the question is, where are the opportunities? If the UK has massive opportunities, where are those opportunities? Also in Canada, you are in Canada right now. Where are the opportunities in Canada? What we do every single year is analyze the job markets in the three major regions, the US, Canada, and the UK. So we scrape data from the major job boards, your LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, Total Jobs. We get this data analyzed to see the frequency of different career paths in terms of demand. So which career path is in high demand, or which career path are in high demand? Okay, so we look at these career paths, scraping data from the major job boards, and we do something called filtering, because you can't get into all the jobs that are in demand. For example, robotics. Robotics is a career path. Robotics engineer is a career path that is in demand, but it's not easy to learn. If you want to get into robotics, you must have background, prerequisite knowledge in electrical, electronics, engineering. If you want to move into software engineering, for example, say a full stack software engineer, this will take you roughly 1 year, 12 months to 18 months. So we needed to filter the career paths that are in demand. And one of the major criteria we looked at was ease of learning. If somebody wants to transition from a customer service role to a robotics engineering role, it's close to practically difficult and impossible, because it means you have to go back to university, learn things you ran away from back in high school and uni. So you can't easily transition because it's not easy to learn. So the first criteria we looked at, yes, we've seen so many career paths that are high in demand, but which of them are easy to learn? Easy to learn in the sense that I can dive in within the space of 3 to 5 months, double down, and learn the skills I need to learn. The second criteria we looked at was ease of transitioning. So it doesn't matter what I've done before. For me personally, I did industrial chemistry in uni. My first job was management consulting, but I was able to transition. I showed you Lois, who was an accountant. She did procurement. Today, she's a project manager. Ngozi was a customer service rep. In Nigeria, she worked as HR. When she moved to the UK, she did customer service, but today she's a business analyst. So ease of transitioning simply means it doesn't matter what I've done before. I can easily transition because it is skill-based and there is also a demand. So we use that as an added layer of filter. And finally, high and rewarding salary. So the salary must also be great. So because I'm learning for 3 to 5 months, there is a demand. Doesn't mean I should earn £15,000 per annum or earn 20,000 Canadian dollars per annum. The salary must also be great. So we looked at these 3 criteria and we came up with 8 different programs that we offer. And these are the 8 career paths that will get you into the tech ecosystem faster than any other area. The business analyst career path, the agile project manager, so not the conventional project manager, but the agile project manager or scrum master profession, the data analyst, the data scientist, data engineer, cybersecurity analyst, financial analyst, and HR analyst. 8 different career paths. But we did this analysis and we saw this. We filtered, we took out career path, for example, robotics, blockchain engineering, software engineering, because of the length of time it takes to learn those skills to get into those career paths. So we needed to also validate and be sure that we're on the right path. The analysis we've done aligns with reputable organizations and institutions out there. So we decided to seek for external validation. And one of the reports we always leverage is what? The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. This report is available publicly to anybody who wants to access. But I've also kept the link for you here. So you can access the link, download the reports, just like we do every single 2 years. So the report comes out every other year. The last one came out in 2023. The next one comes out in 2025. So this report shows you the jobs that are growing in demand and the jobs that are declining in demand. So it's important to know that now I moved from my country, I moved to the UK, I moved to Canada, I'm in the US, I'm somewhere else, and I want to get a job. I don't want to get into a career path where in the next 2 years, next 5 years, I start to decline. The demand for that career particular role starts to decline, meaning that I become irrelevant. So you want to move into a career path that is relevant, and you keep on staying relevant over the next 10 years. So this report is broken down into two key areas. The left-hand side are the jobs that will grow. The right-hand side are the jobs that will decline. All right. And we are interested in the career path that will grow. Number one, you'd find is AI and machine learning. And of course, it's a no-brainer. If you're an AI, machine learning, you're a machine learning specialist, you're in artificial intelligence today, you won't struggle to get a job. The demand is there, and the demand will even grow further into the future. All right. Second is business intelligence analyst. As a BI analyst, you are simply a data analyst. BI analyst, business intelligence, is a derivative of data analytics. And then you also have the data analyst and the data scientist role clearly spelled out. So that's the first one you'd see there, the data analyst and the data science role. So again, any of these areas, you can't be making a mistake because these are the career paths that are in demand today. So we saw clearly that the analysis we have done, where we got data from job boards, we did the analysis to see where the demand was, we were on the right path. Okay. You also have information security specialists. These are your cybersecurity professionals. So if you're in cybersecurity, you can't be in the wrong profession. You can't be transitioning into the wrong profession because this is where the demand is, and this is where the demand will increase in the future. Jobs that are growing. You have the big data specialists. You have the data engineers, the database architects. These are the data engineering roles. These are people that store data, the data we generate, manage, store the data, and ensure that the data is accessible when people need to use that data. Then you have the process automation specialists. These are your business analysts. They are the ones that ensure that the process it takes to accomplish a task or accomplish a particular step is done efficiently. If it takes 5 days, how do we reduce it to take 5 minutes? So they automate processes, manage projects that leads to automation so that the companies are more efficient, make more money, and reduce losses. Okay, now you also have the project managers. But where are the opportunities in project management? Agile. The agile project managers, the scrum masters, they are the ones with the opportunities. You have the database and network professionals. Those are the data engineers, cybersecurity professionals, and you have the financial analysts, which is the financial analytics career path. Now, something very interesting I'll show you before I leave here is on the right-hand side, these are the jobs that are declining in demand, correct? You'd see the accountants and the auditors. So you're an accountant or an auditor today, you are likely going to start to become irrelevant in the next few years. That's not by me or not by Tenalytics. That's according to the World Economic Forum. And it's important we listen to the World Economic Forum. Why? These are the captains of the industries. It's a group of people, including the captains of the industries. So your Jeff Bezos, your Elon Musk, and the rest. You have world leaders, presidents, prime ministers of the major economies, and you have these people. They come together to chart the path of where the economy would move into. So it's crazy not listening to what they have to say, because they tell you where the world would be. Everybody is doing AI today simply because that's the trajectory of where the world is going to. Everybody is doing data because that's where the world is going to. The world has been in existence, arguably, for the past 300,000 years. Okay? Now, out of all the data generated in 300,000 years, 90% was generated in the last 5 years. So 90% of the data we have in the world today was generated in the last 5 years. And this is why the data professionals are so much in demand, because organizations need professionals to help them handle that data, analyze the data, store the data, extract insights and information from the data to help them make decisions, essentially. So that's why you see the data engineer very high in demand, the data analyst, the data scientist, the business analyst, the HR analyst, the financial analyst, and so on and so forth. So that's the rationale to coming up with the career path that are in demand, that if you get into any of these areas, you land a job the fastest. So like I mentioned, the data analyst, data scientist, the data engineer, cybersecurity analyst, the business analyst, financial analyst, the HR analyst, and the agile project manager, Scrum master. All right. And because you've learned data analytics does not mean you only get a job as a data analyst. You can get a job as a business intelligence analyst, as a database analyst or a database administrator, and so on and so forth. As an agile project manager, you can get a job as a Scrum master, as an agile coach, as a PMO planner, PMO officer, and so on and so forth. So I want to ask my first question for today. Which of these 8 career paths are you interested in? Because remember, that's the first thing you must always do. Okay? Interest. Ajo says he's an auditor. Ajo, if you're an auditor, you need to upskill. Okay? You need to upskill. You can't remain an auditor. You can't remain a conventional accountant. And how do you upskill? Since Ajo has said that, how do you upskill? If you're an accountant or an auditor like Ajo, you need to move from this right-hand side. Okay, you move from the right-hand side into the left-hand side as a financial analyst. And how do you do that? By adding data analytics skills. So if you add data analytics skills to your accounting background, you move into where? A financial analyst. So you need to upskill. So you don't remain redundant or relevant if you are able to upskill. And that's the importance of knowing the path that are declining and the path that are increasing or growing in demand. So Ajo, I hope that helps to some extent give you some clarity. So I want to see, type into the chat, which career path are you interested in? Oh, I can see a lot of, so David says data scientist, Uche, financial analyst, Olubenga, cybersecurity analyst, Chinedu, data analyst, Samson, data analyst, and so on. Somebody's asking what's the difference between the data analyst and the data scientist. I'm going to explain that, and that's what we'll do before we wrap up our session today. So all these 8 career paths, I'm going to walk you through what they do. What do they do in an organization? As simple, I'll explain it using simple examples as possible. All right, so bear with me as I explain them in the simplest terms possible so that you understand clearly what they do. Once you have that understanding, it becomes clearer when you're making the transition. Samuel says data analyst, financial analyst is where the money is. Absolutely. Every organization needs a financial analyst. Every organization deals with money. If you're a not-for-profit, you get donations, you get contributions, you still need to manage that money. All right. And that's where the financial analyst comes in. So now let's see, how do you get into any of these career paths? Okay, and we're going to start with the business analyst. Now, as a business analyst, let's use this very quick example. Imagine you sell handmade bags, or you have a friend that sells handmade bags. So those bags are sold on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So that's the business they do. She sells handmade bags. But recently, customers have been complaining that the deliveries have been delayed. The bags are not delivered on time. And even when the bags are delivered, the orders are incorrect. So somebody has, ordered for a black bag, but you send a red bag to them. They've ordered for a brown bag, you send a black bag to them. So the orders are incorrect. And these have been the complaints from customers. As a business analyst, what do? You go into this, your friend's company, and you start by mapping out the process. Okay, mapping out the process. So it's called process mapping. So you process map. What does the process look like? How do customers order? And how does the product get delivered? You want to know, because if you don't know what the process looks like, you can't improve on it. Every business has processes, people, and technology. Okay, the business analyst focuses on processes. I want you to put that at the back of your mind. The business analyst focuses on processes. So when this your friend tells you that I'm having issues with my customers, they complain about late deliveries, complain about incorrect orders, the first thing a business analyst will do is map out the process. So what does the current state look like? The as-is process today, what does it look like? So one of the things the business analyst found was that customers are ordering bags by calling. So they place a phone call because you sell on Instagram, you sell on Facebook, you sell on TikTok. Customers call to make their order. Hello, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I want to order a brown bag. I saw it on your Instagram page. This is the type of bag I want, blah, blah, blah. I live on 100th Street or 101 Street on 109 Avenue, Edmonton. You give your address and all of that, okay? Now, because the order is collected over the phone and somebody is manually writing it down, there is a tendency to make mistakes. So the postcode could have been written differently, wrongly, or the address itself, the house number could have been written wrongly. So somebody manually writes down all these details, and the person would have to scan through a particular notebook to see the bags available. Or maybe the person has an Excel spreadsheet to check, is this bag available? The bag the person is asking for, is it available? And all of this takes time. So as you map out the process step by step, you start to see where the problems are. So you sit down with the customer service professional, with the owner of the business, and every other person involved in collecting orders from customer and delivering to the customer, because you want to know what the process is and map out that process. So once these details are written down, that particular customer service professional would print out the order, go to the store physically to check, is this bag in stock? Is it available? And then pick out the bag if it's available. Take the bag, prepare the shipping labels, and send them to the courier for the courier to deliver to the customer. And all of this takes 3 days because everything is manual. People are calling to book their orders. You are writing down manually, and you have to also go into the store physically to check, is this thing available? If it's not available, you tell them it's not available. If it's available, then you have to pick it up, take it to the courier. The courier will then deliver to the customer. And that's why it takes time, 3 days. And you see that your competitor is doing it in 24 hours. So the business analyst must come up with something called an optimized state, the future state. So your role after mapping out the process, you look for the gaps. Where are the gaps in here? Where are the inefficiencies? Please pardon my handwriting. And where are the manual tasks? So you look for all these things along the process, and you come up with a future state which is more optimized. And your future state looks like this. So you tell your friend that, look, I've mapped out the process, I've spoken to all the stakeholders involved, and this is what we need to do. We need customers to order through a website. And this website must have an order management system, which means that if you have 100 bags and a customer buys one of the bags online, it reduces automatically to 99. So nobody needs to check a notebook or check an Excel spreadsheet because they know exactly the number of bags available in stock. So we must implement a website, implement an order management system, which would help us automatically generate the customer details. So if a customer goes to the website, creates a profile, for example, they'll enter their address like you do on Amazon, you do on, every other platform you use, and they deliver items to you. You have your address, you have everything there. and you're not going to make a mistake entering the wrong address. Okay, so everything is done automatically. Customers order online, the order management system tells you your inventory level. If you have that item in stock, the details are automatically generated, and the order management system also automatically sends the order to the courier, the person, the third-party logistics that will deliver to the customer. So rather than doing things manually, you are recommending a solution that would reduce that process that takes 3 days to take just 5 hours. That's the business analyst. Are you the one to build the website and integrate it with an order management system? No, that's not your responsibility. But you'd be the one to manage the project. You'd work with the software development team, the technology team, the UI UX designer. You'd work with them to ensure that that project is delivered and it meets the requirements of the company. And once that website is built and is ready to be deployed, you as a business analyst must ensure that people in-house in that company knows how to use the website. So you're going to implement things like training. You create communication messages that go out to customers so they know that you are moving from social media to a web platform where they can now order their items and things are done more efficiently. That is who the business analyst is. You are a change agent. You are the one that enables companies to become more efficient by looking at their current process and ensuring you look for ways to automate those processes to become more efficient. All right. So the skills you need to have to become a business analyst. First of all, you must understand how to work with data. So you learn your data skills. You must know how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL, structured query language. You must know how to use this to gather data, analyze the data, come up with insights that can help the business take decisions. This is not your day-to-day responsibility. You're not a data analyst, but you must be comfortable handling data. The modern business analyst must know how to work with data. All right. Then you learn process mapping using tools like Lucidchart and Draw.io. So you see that process map I created. We're going to use Draw.io, for example, to map out the process. How does it start? How does it end? And what are the different decisions and activities in between? Then you learn project initiation planning, which is a project management skill. So remember Lois's story. I told you to write it down. Lois completed business analysis with us, but she got a job as a project manager. This is the reason why she got that job. So you're going to learn project initiation and planning as a business analyst. It is a project management skill. You'd also learn Agile, the Agile methodology, and the Scrum framework for projects. This is another project management skill. You'd also learn the software development lifecycle. It is another project management skill. And the reason why you are learning the software development lifecycle is because that website and the order management system that you recommended to be built for your friend for her business is a technology product. So you must know how technology products, how software, how applications are designed and built, maintained, tested, deployed. You must know the life cycle. Then you move to requirements fundamentals. And this is you asking all the different stakeholders, getting the requirements of what needs to be on that website to have an efficient website that solves the problem for the business. So you sit with customer service, you talk to them, they tell you, oh, this must be here, we must have this feature, we must have that feature. And you even deploy surveys to your what? External stakeholders, your customers. So you get your feedback from them as well. Okay. Now you see these project management skills. This was what Lois was able to use to land that job as a project manager. Okay. Because for your Agile and Scrum, for example, We're going to use Jira to track project deliverables. We're going to use Trello to manage your team members working on projects and so on and so forth. You learn how to use Confluence for collaboration while working as a business analyst. All right. You learn elicitation, which is asking the right questions so you can get the right answers to help you solve problems. So you're going to create focus group meetings. You're going to create interviews, asking the right questions and so on. You must also understand stakeholder analysis and engagement. How do you rank stakeholders based on their influence? How do you manage? How do you communicate to the different stakeholders within the business? And of course, AI for business analysis using ChatGPT. So these are the skills you need to be a business analyst. Remember, the business analyst focuses on what? Processes. You learn for 4 months, 2 months in class and 2 months internship. The internship is where you get your hands dirty, get your hands busy on a real world project where you help a company. In that company, the HR department is currently manual. People send emails when they want to go on leave. Everything is manual. So you go into the business and you help them come up with a web portal that would automate all their processes. And that's the project you're going to work on during your internship. So that when you get a job as a business analyst, you know exactly what you need to do on day one. Okay? The program is Saturdays and Sundays. Sunday, you don't have a live class. Saturdays is when you have your live class. So Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the morning. If you're in the UK, you are in Nigeria, similar time zone. You are in Europe, similar time zone. You have your classes in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in the US, you're in Canada, you have your class at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So there's a class flexible, irrespective of your region and where you are. Okay, so if you're in the UK, for example, you can't make the class in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can join the class in the evening for the US and Canada guys, where your own time in the UK would be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you have that flexibility. You don't have live classes on Sundays. On Sundays, you have a self-paced class. So I showed you the platform earlier. So on Sundays, you are coming here, coming to the platform. You are going to the program you registered for, say it's business analysis. You are coming here, click on continue learning, and this takes you into your class. So you have every single thing you'll be doing. You have them broken down right here. Okay. So let's say project initiation planning and stakeholder analysis. You come in here and you're watching your videos. What is this all about? And the beauty, like I said, at the end of the day, you have a case study for every single thing you learn. All right. And you solve this case study in a way that you get to do everything from scratch. So you're not working with already designed templates. The templates are not designed for you. You are building from scratch so that when you're on the job and there is no templates, you know how to build your own templates eventually. So you get to watch your videos every Sunday at your own convenience. You can break it down, watch some of them on Sunday, watch some on Monday, Tuesday, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what your LMS, your learning management system, that's what it looks like every Sundays or Mondays, depending on when you have time. You schedule your videos, you watch them. But on Saturday is when you have a live trainer like myself, working on projects with you, solving problems together, and so on and so forth. That's the business analyst. Salaries are also fantastic. In the UK, you are earning about £52,000 per annum. In Canada, over 74,000 Canadian. In the US, over 85,000 US dollars. Now, looking at that project we talked about, your friend's website, that's your friend's business that you've recommended, we need to build a website with an order management system. Now, let's imagine that your friend also has an agile project manager in-house. You as the business analyst would have to work with the agile project manager in managing the project. So we are moving to the agile project management role. As an agile project manager, what do you do? So that same business needs to build a website with an order management system. We've agreed. And there is an agile project manager in-house. So as the business analyst, you will take a step back, allow the agile project manager manage the project while you would supervise, and you are the project owner eventually. Okay, now, why is agile project management fantastic? And why is this where the opportunities are? In building this website with the order management system, conventional project management, which is the waterfall. So project management, you have three major methodologies. You have waterfall. Okay, pardon my handwriting. Waterfall. You have agile. And then you have Wagile. So Wagile is a hybrid, a combination of waterfall and agile. Okay, but what you see most of the time is organizations using waterfall or they are using agile. Now, agile is suited towards the tech ecosystem more than waterfall. Waterfall is where you have your construction project, your typical convention project management. So in building this website, traditional project management would say, let us gather all the requirements. What do we need to build this website? What does it need to have? Let's gather all the requirements. Okay, we need to have a sign-up page. We need to have a customer profile page. Every single thing we need to have, we determine it at the beginning. And then we design what we want to build. After designing, we start to build, implement. After implement or build. After we build, we test. After we test, we deploy. And after we deploy, we maintain. So it is very sequential. That's traditional project management, waterfall. It is very sequential and it is very predictive. Waterfall is also called the predictive methodology. You predict everything you do because you've already identified all the requirements at the beginning. You know exactly what you want to build. It's like you wanting to cook jollof rice. You know all the ingredients you need for your jollof rice. You get everything, cook the jollof rice, serve it to your customers or serve it to your guests. Now, agile is different. So let's say this takes all this process, design, implement, test, deploy, is going to take us 6 months. So at the end of 6 months, that is when we are deploying. So if there are any things we need to change, we are changing it after 6 months. Okay, that's not ideal for a technology related project, and that's where agile comes in. So with agile, what do you do? An agile project manager would break this project down into manageable pieces, smaller sizes, chunks of projects from one project. So the first chunk can be build the user login page. That's the first chunk. We break it into smaller manageable pieces called sprints. The second can be to build a storefront with a product listing. So all the bags, you have a storefront, you build a user login page, and finally, you have facial recognition. So let's imagine we want to implement facial recognition on the website. So that's what the Agile Project Manager will do, break them into sprints. And the sprints could take between 2 to 4 weeks, typically. So what happens is you take one sprint at a time, implement the sprint, review the sprint, and deploy to the users. So as you complete sprint 1, for example, we build the user login page within 2 to 4 weeks, and we deploy to the users. So we send it to our customers. We are launching our website. We want you to log in, create a user page, and so on and so forth. Now, they will use this page, they will use the website, create their user profiles and all of that, and then they give you feedback. This feedback they give to you, you go back and implement the feedback. Okay, this is not working well, that is not this, we need you to have this, we need you to have that, and you keep on improving on that. Once you are done with the first sprint, you move to the next sprint, sprint 2, build a storefront with product listings. And once you are done, again, you deploy, here, and here again, you deploy to the users, and you get feedback again from them. Oh, whenever I want to buy the black bag, if I click on it, I don't see the price. So you are able to do what? You are able to get feedback from customers, and you do what? You implement it. So it's like you cooking that jollof rice again, but this time around, you're not cooking the jollof rice entirely before you give it to your guests. You cook it in bits and pieces. You cook the rice, add salt, give it to them to taste. Is the salt too much, or do you want me to, is the salt not enough? Do you want me to add more? So you are taking feedback from the users, and you are making what you are cooking better. You are making the product better. Okay. Once you are done with that, you move to the third sprint where you want to build facial recognition. All right. Once you are done, you deploy to the users, and you also get feedback from them. At the end of the day, you would have built the product that is fit for purpose and fit for the market. So the conventional way of doing this, which is the waterfall, you do everything and then you deploy. Usually it's already too late to make changes because you've done so many things and completed. But the agile approach says break them down into bits and pieces and work on them in sprints. 2 to 4 weeks, complete this review, deploy. So you are deploying incrementally. You are deploying what? Incrementally. So at the end of the day, when you are deploying it fully, you have a product that fits the market. I opened up Zoom today and I saw that the Zoom interface had changed. New features are added. You can do so many new things. And that's the agile framework, the agile methodology in play. You can improve from time to time based on the feedback from customers. And that's why the agile methodology is deployed within the tech ecosystem. So as an agile project manager, you're going to learn the methodologies and the structure, skills and communications of a project manager, foundations of Agile and Scrum. You learn about the Scrum framework, the Scrum artifacts, what does increments mean, sprints, the product backlog. You learn about advanced Scrum and Agile practices. You learn how to use Jira end-to-end to track project deliverables. All right? You learn how to use Kanban boards to track workflow for your workflow management and so on. You learn about different metrics for measuring projects, velocity, the burn up and burn down charts. You learn about leadership in project management and its real world applications. The Nexus Scale Scrum, which is simply implementing the Scrum framework across multiple enterprises in an organization. And then we prepare you for the Scrum Master certification. You're also going to learn Confluence to collaborate on projects, and you learn Trello for what? Tracking your team members and the progress of the task that they work on. So the program is for 4 months. 3 months you learn in class and 1 month internship. You have live classes both on Saturdays and on Sundays. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sundays 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And that's the Agile project management. As an Agile project manager, remember, you can apply to jobs as a Scrum Master, an Agile coach, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, you earn about £53,000 in the UK, about 97,000 Canadian dollars. In the US, 6 figures, 120,000 US dollars. And that's the demand for Agile project managers in the US. So I'm going to move to the next 3 career paths, and I'll take them at once so we can save time. The data engineer, the data analyst, and the data scientist. So you built that website that your friend wants to, you recommended, the business analyst recommended that we need to build. You built the website, you have the order management system on the website. So things are more efficient with the business. But the CEO, the owner of the business, wants to know, how many customers have we gotten from 1st of January till 30th of September? So Q1 to Q3, I want to know how many customers have we gotten? Now remember that even though we have a website, customers would still call in to place their orders, because not all customers will be on board immediately. It could take 1 year to fully bring in all the customers to make orders through the website. So you still have your Facebook, you still have your Instagram, and you still have TikTok. People are still ordering from these platforms. So you want to know how many orders have we gotten in total. So you focus on only the website, you're going to miss out on the trickles of orders that come from Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, to get this data to know, to do your analysis and find out total number of customers, the data engineer, okay, is responsible for getting this data into a single location. The data engineer does what? They are the data providers. Let's call them the what? The data providers. They provide the data. So the data engineer would create something called pipelines, ETL pipelines. So just like in your kitchen, you go to the kitchen, you open up the tap and water flows. Somebody has connected pipes from wherever the water source is to where the water should come out from in your kitchen. Without the pipes, water would not flow. Without these ETL pipelines, data would not flow. So the data engineer would create these ETL pipelines from the website, the order management system, which has a database. From Facebook, which create another pipeline from Facebook, create a pipeline from Instagram, create a pipeline from TikTok, and the data flows all into a central location called the data warehouse. So the data warehouse is where all these data will be stored. And whenever the data engineer is not available, data still flows from all these sources into the central location. So your responsibility as a data engineer is to provide the data. Without the data analysts can't do their jobs, the data scientists cannot do their jobs. So now that the data analyst has created pipelines, ETL pipelines, gotten data from all the data sources into the data warehouse, the data analyst can now do their job. Data analyst. And the data analyst will do what? Their responsibility is to answer that question. How many customers have we gotten from Q1 to Q3? So the data analyst answers two questions in any company. Question number one is what happened? What happened? How many customers did we get? How many customers did we lose? How many bags did we sell? How much money did we make? What happened? That's number one question for the data analyst. Number two is why did it happen? Why did it happen? Okay, so when you answer the question, what happened? You are answering a question, and it's called what? Descriptive. Descriptive analytics. When you answer the question, why did it happen? You are doing diagnostic. Diagnostic analytics. Okay, you don't need to bother yourself with all these technical jargons, but just know that a data analyst answers two questions. What happened and why did it happen? So we want to know how many customers have we gotten from Q1 to Q3. So the data analyst would get this data from the data warehouse that the data engineer has created and made the data available, and use Excel, Power BI, or any of those tools to come up with a chart that looks like this. Whoops, sorry. Why is this coming up? That looks like this, okay? So this is Q1, Q2, Q3. All right. So in Q1, you might have seen that, oh, we got 500 customers. In Q2, we got 1,000 customers. And in Q3, we had 300 customers. Okay, so this is what happened. this is what happened. Let me give you a little bit of space because I'll still need to write. So Q3, let's put Q3 right here. And Q3, we had what? 300 customers. So this is what happened. This is descriptive analytics. Get data, historical data from January to September, analyze that data and tell me what happened. How many customers did I get? 500 in Q1, 1,000 in Q2, 300 in Q3. If you are the owner of this business and you see this presented to you, type into the chat, what would be your next question? We had 500 in Q1, okay? We had 1,000 in Q2 and 300 in Q3. What would you ask? What would be your next question? Just type it in the chat. Type into the chat, let's see. What led to the drop in Q3? Fantastic, Olufunke. Oyindamola is saying, why was there a sharp reduction in Q3? Okay, so everybody wants to know, why was there a reduction? We're making a lot of money, but then in Q3, we dropped. But even more importantly, how did we move? What did we do right in Q1 that led us to move from 500 to 1,000? What did we do in Q1? So if I know what I did between Q1 and Q2 that led to that increase from 500, 100% increase to 1,000, what did we do? Then I can implement the same thing going forward. And that's why it's important to know what happened. Every business wants to know. Scotiabank wants to know how many new customers did we get. Netflix wants to know how many new subscribers did we get. Every single business, the Lloyds Bank, every single business wants to know what happened. So once you know what happened, the next thing is, why did it happen? So why did we also decline? So perhaps Q1, Q2, we used a specific influencer, we ran sales promotions, so you can recommend as a data analyst that we need to do more of these type of promotions because that was what led from 500 in Q1 to 1,000 in Q2. We need to also use this type of influencer because they gave us the numbers between Q1 and Q2. So if we do that going forward, we are likely going to get similar results. And that is you as a data analyst, seeing what happened, diving into the data to find out why did it happen? Why did we have 500 to 1,000? And why did we have 1,000 to 300? That is digging in to find events and patterns in your data to help tell why what happened actually happened. And these are the two key questions the data analyst must answer in any business. Now, the data scientist, for the person who asked the question, the data scientist, how is the data scientist different? The data scientist takes it a step further, okay? The data scientist takes it a step further. The data scientist answers the third question. The third question, let me use a different pen so that the third question is question number 3, which is what? What will happen? So the data scientist sees into the future. Based on what has happened and why it happened, what will happen in the future? So now you are predicting. You want to know what would happen in Q4. Q4 has just started. We are in October, we still have November, we have December. So how many customers am I likely going to get? That is what the data scientist comes in to do, to predict, to forecast into the future. And for you to predict and forecast, you must understand statistical modeling. So you can't be a data scientist and run away from statistics. You can't be a data scientist and run away from machine learning. Okay, let's just call it ML because we don't have space anymore. You can't run away from machine learning, predictive analytics, and so on and so forth. But statistics is the foundation for forecasting and predictive analytics. So the data scientist would look at historical data and use machine learning models to predict what would happen in the future based on what has happened in the past and why it happened. So in Q4, the prediction could be that we're likely going to get about 900 customers in Q4. But that's a prediction. And you must also show to what accuracy level you made these predictions and so on. So your data scientist sees into the future. The data scientist would find out what happened, why did it happen, and what will happen. The data analyst would answer the question, what happened and why did it happen? The data engineer provides the data. The data engineer provides the data. Okay, so what skills do you need to do all these things we've said? As a data analyst, you must understand problem solving. Then you move into Microsoft Excel for analytics. You learn SQL, structured query language. Structured query language is a language that would enable you access the data that the data engineer has put into the data warehouse. Without understanding of the language of databases, which is SQL, you can't access the data warehouse to get the data that you need. Then you learn how to use Power BI and Tableau for your data visualization. So once you've analyzed, you want to visualize what you've done. You want to show things in the form of charts. Oh, Q1, we had 300 or 500. Q2, we had 1,000. For you to visualize and show what you've done, you need technologies, BI technologies like Power BI and Tableau. And the beauty of learning the two is you don't worry about, organizations having a preference for one, because you'd find organizations wanting Tableau. Some others would want only Power BI. But if you know the two, you can apply to any type of job without that consideration. Then you need data storytelling, where you're telling the story of the analysis you've done to non-technical stakeholders, so they understand what you're saying and they know the decision they need to take. You learn ChatGPT for analytics, using AI for analytics using ChatGPT and Microsoft Fabric. The program is for 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. The internship is where you work together with the HR analyst and the data scientist to solve a common problem. So the internship is a project-based scenario that gives you that real-world experience where you get to work on problems, and the problems are the same type of problems you'd find in a typical organization when you get a job as a data analyst. And this is where you build your skills. So when I showed you Victoria's portfolio and you saw projects, those were projects from classes, projects from capstone projects, projects from internship. All right. So you also have classes on Saturdays. Your live classes are on Saturdays. If you're in the UK, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in the US, Canada, you have a timing that fits your time zone, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. On Sundays, you have a self-paced class. You don't jump into a live class. You're on the platform, the LMS, watching your videos at your own convenience. The data scientist would start with statistics, because that's the foundation. That's the lever on which machine learning, predictive analytics all ride on. Okay, so without statistics, you can't really understand forecasting, machine learning. So most people start data science by learning Python, and that's very wrong. You have to learn the foundation. It's like building a house and starting from the roof when you learn Python first. But you want to learn the foundation, have a solid foundation, and build on that foundation. So you start from statistics. Then you learn Excel for predictive analytics. Then you learn Tableau and SQL. SQL is a common denominator across any data role, because you need to know how to interact with databases, get your data, connect your Python, connect your Excel, your Power BI to that database. Then you learn Python for your exploratory data analysis, machine learning. You learn computer vision, version control using GitHub, and you learn AI for data science using GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT. And finally, you learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics. The timeline is also for 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. All right. Classes are suited based on your time zone. If you're in the UK, US, you have the time zone on Saturdays that fits your own schedule. So you don't have to join classes at odd hours, and you can join classes at your own convenience on Saturdays. Sundays, you can watch no live class, you watch your videos on the LMS. All right. For the data engineer, remember you are the data provider. You would learn introduction to data engineering. SQL and Python are your bread and butter. So you see those pipelines you're going to create. You're going to create them using Python. You see the data warehouse you're going to funnel the data into. The data warehouse will be built using SQL. And that's why SQL and Python are your bread and butter as a data engineer. You'd learn Linux for bash scripting. You'd learn how to get data from ETL pipe, from databases, APIs, scrape data from the web. You'd use Apache Spark and Airflow to automate your pipelines. You would learn different cloud engineering technologies from GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Azure, and you'd also get to learn GitHub, version control using GitHub, and also AI for data engineering using ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot. The data engineering program is a bit longer, for 5 months. 3 months in class and 2 months internship. So your internship is for 2 months, where you're working on an end-to-end project, amazing project that gives you that real-world hands-on experience. You have classes on Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. if you're in the UK, Nigeria, similar time zones, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. if you're in the US, Canada, similar time zones. On Sundays, you don't have a live class. Your classes are self-paced. Salaries are also phenomenal. The data scientist and the data engineer earn 6 figures in the US. The data engineer earns 6 figures in Canada, and the salaries in the UK, £65,000, also phenomenal. And this is simply because you don't have so many data engineers out there, and organizations are willing to pay to get you on board. All right, so having the skills gives you the unique opportunity to apply for a role that is high in demand and also has a fantastic salary. All right, we go to the HR analyst and the financial analyst. As a HR analyst, you are also a data analyst. The difference is that rather than analyzing customers, how many customers did we get Q1 to Q3, you are focused on financial data. Okay, so you want to know that your friend business, where are the areas for cost optimization? So you get data from the business, the sales data, data from expenses, and you want to do what? Identify areas for optimization, for cost optimization. You also want to assess the company's health, the financial health, areas for profitability. What's the profitability, return on investment, return on equity, look at different profitability metrics, and so on and so forth. Recently, the Bank of England, I think about 2 months ago, reduced the interest rates. The same thing with the Bank of Canada, reduced the interest rates this week. That was last week, rather. How does this impact our business? We had a budget at the beginning. Our customers who would also pay with their credit cards at some point, we also need to know how this affects them. So you're carrying out sensitivity and scenario analysis to identify how would different economic downturns or regulatory changes impact what we do as a business. If that your friend wants to go into a different type of business, say, rather than selling just bags, I also want to sell shoes. And we need to set up a manufacturing plant where we're going to produce or manufacture those shoes. You want to create a financial model to see what's the best case scenario if we're going to build this plant, what's the base case and what's the worst case. And that's what you do as a financial analyst. Your focus is on what's financial data. So you learn the data skills, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you move into the key accounting financial areas, accounting fundamentals. So for the gentleman who said, oh, I'm an auditor the other time, you want to take note of this type of area. All right. How do you become a financial analyst? You must add what? Data. These are your data skills. You must add that to your accounting background, financial knowledge, and so on and so forth. So you learn accounting fundamentals, financial analysis, financial modeling, valuation, sensitivity and scenario analysis. So you create different scenarios. When inflation goes up, unemployment goes down, what's the implication? How does it affect us as a business and the industry where we play? Then you learn AI for financial analytics using ChatGPT. The timeline is similar to the data analyst. 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. Classes are on Saturdays, live classes. It doesn't matter where you are, you have the opportunity to join a class. Sundays, you have a self-paced session. Same with the HR analyst as well. As a HR analyst, you are also a data analyst. The difference is you are not analyzing all types of data, just like the financial analyst. You're analyzing people data, HR data, okay? So you want to know, where do you get your best performing employees? Because you hire employees from different places, from LinkedIn, the company's website, and so on and so forth. You want to track and see where are your best performing employees, where do they come from? If they come from HR consultants, rather than spending money on the other channels, why not double down on this channel and get as many employees from this particular channel as possible? When you have high attrition, people leaving, you want to identify the factors why they leave. Typically, HR professionals would carry out exit interviews. When you ask questions, oh, why are you leaving, blah, blah, blah. But that's very conventional and simplistic. You want to make it more digital so you can capture data from people leaving. So if you have the data from people leaving, for example, who was your last manager? When was your last training? The age group of the employees, you know the type of people that leave. If you know the type of people that leave, you create a profile for a typical potential resignee, someone that is likely going to resign. You can identify those that are still with the company that might be leaving in the next few months. And then you have something called stay interviews with them instead of exit interviews after they resigned. So you're coming up with HR policies and strategies that align with what the data says. A lot of organizations are bringing back people into the office. Does that align with productivity? Have you done the analysis? So if you're one of those organizations, you need to ask the question, people that work remotely, has their productivity declined over the last few years, or has it increased? If you are just bringing people back into the office based on your whims, based on your gut feeling, that's the wrong way to go. You want to analyze the data, identify what does productivity look like, comparing people that are in office and people that are working remotely. So you take decisions, you come up with policies that are data-driven. That's what the HR analyst does. So you learn the data skills, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. Then you go into the core HR areas, HR and performance evaluation, HR metrics and life cycle. So you know the type of metrics to measure absenteeism, diversity and inclusion, talent management. You know everything you need to track within the organization. HR analysis and dashboarding, using Power BI to build dashboards, automating your reports, and collaborating. Most of the reports you would have to deploy would be created every week, every month. You don't want to always create from scratch. You want to build and automate the process so that every month you have an updated report and all you have to do is just present. You want to build your case and create action. And of course, AI for HR analytics using ChatGPT. The program is for 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. Your internship with a HR professional, as a HR professional, would be with the data scientist and the data analyst. So you're helping the company to reduce their attrition. People are leaving. So you as the HR analyst would analyze the data to find out why are people leaving. All right. The data scientist would build a machine learning model to predict people that are likely going to leave, while the data analyst would help to automate the reporting to keep on identifying who are the people that are likely going to leave. And then you come up with policies and strategies at the end of the day to help prevent those people from leaving. So if you need to implement hybrid work, if you are losing your young talents, what are the different initiatives we can come up with to keep our talents? And those are the things you're going to do during your internship. Saturdays is when you have your live class, Sundays for the self-paced class. Finally is the cybersecurity professional. As a cybersecurity professional, your role is to protect the systems, protect the network, and protect the data of any organization. All right. So you are helping to protect the systems, the network, the data from both internal and external threats. One very popular role in cybersecurity is the SOC analyst, for example, the security operations analyst. And your role as a SOC analyst is simply to monitor different activities within the network and identify where there is an anomaly. So I'm sure most of you would have had this experience. You travel from the UK, you have your Lloyds Bank credit or debit card, and you use it to pay for something in Canada or in Poland or in Germany, and then your card is blocked. Before that payment would not go through and your card gets blocked. You have to call customer service to unblock. Why is that the case? There is somebody preventing that from going through. So what the SOC analyst does is identify unusual patterns in the network, the systems, and see where something that has not been happening happens and investigates why is this happening? Why has this person who was just here a few hours ago, a few days ago, now purchasing something in a different region entirely? And this is how you protect. So if that card details has been stolen or it's been compromised, you can stop that transaction from happening. That's one career path as a cybersecurity analyst. And by the time you are done, you can apply to jobs as a SOC analyst, apply to jobs as a GRC consultant, and apply to jobs as a penetration tester, a pen tester. All right, where you're identifying, you as a penetration tester will try to hack into the system, penetrate into the system to identify vulnerabilities. Are there vulnerabilities with this system? Can somebody externally penetrate the system? If they can, because you have tried to penetrate and you succeeded in penetrating, you come up with strategies and measures to ensure somebody cannot do the same thing you've just done. Okay? Or a GRC consultant who is responsible for implementing industry standards and frameworks, for ensuring that the company maintains a compliance records as it relates to cybersecurity, customer data, and so on and so forth. And also ensuring that the organization adheres to relevant regulations like the GDPR, the HIPAA law within the healthcare sector, and so on and so forth. That's what you do as a governance, risk, and compliance consultant. You'd start from introduction to cybersecurity, foundations of computing and networking. Networking is the foundation, critical aspect of cybersecurity, information security principles, offensive and defensive cybersecurity, cryptography, cyber threats and attack vectors, network security, endpoint security, web and application security, cloud security, incident response and forensics, and finally, cybersecurity policies and compliance. The cybersecurity program happens every Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. You have class, your program lasts for 4 months, 3 months in class, 1 month internship. And this brings us to the last program for today, the The cybersecurity earns amazing salaries. 57,000 in the UK, pounds per annum. In the US, six figures, $105,000. In Canada, 140,000 Canadian, six figures as well. At the end of the day, two things helps you get the job. I've listed all the technical skills you need. As a data analyst, you learn this. As a data scientist, you must learn statistics. So you can't run away from mathematics and want to be a data scientist. You can't run away from coding and want to be a data scientist. You can't run away from coding and want to be a data engineer. All right? So you start to understand what it takes to get into each career path. But most importantly, once you are done with the technical skill, which is a given, you must also learn employability, how to interview, what to say, how to answer questions, the right CV, the right LinkedIn. And this is where we do our best work, because this is what gets you the job. The best person doesn't get the job. The best person that knows how to use Python doesn't get the job. The best in the use of Excel does not get the job. But the person that has the right CV, which we help with your CV review, your CV revamp, we work with you to have the right LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn optimization, navigating the job market. How do you apply? Where do you apply? So for those in the UK, for example, oh, I want to get a sponsored job, a job that can offer me sponsorship. One of the things we do is we subscribe to all the major job boards that offer visa sponsorship jobs. And then because you would not want to go pay to get into those platforms, because you pay a lot of money to subscribe to them. So we subscribe on your behalf and we send you these jobs every single week. For example, if you go into one of the classrooms, I'll just show you a very quick example of what these jobs look like. So every single week, we send you the jobs. You see the job openings. If you click on access job openings, it takes you to the jobs. All right. So these jobs were posted today, I think today or yesterday. So these are jobs for the financial analyst. You can apply to these roles. You have visa sponsored jobs specific for the financial analyst. So this is the financial analytics program. Now, because a financial analyst can also apply to a data analyst role, you also have jobs for the data analyst with visa sponsorship. So you see the different companies, their locations, and so on and so forth. And you can apply to these jobs. And this is where you see professionals who thrive, who have gotten immense value. This is where it starts from. So we send you this. It's important for you to know where to apply. If you want to get a sponsored job and all you are doing is applying on LinkedIn, on Glassdoor, on CV Library, you'll get the job, you might get, but it will take longer than somebody who is leveraging platforms like UK Visa Jobs, leveraging platforms like Visa Jobs HQ, and so on and so forth. And these are the types of jobs we bring to you. Interview preparation. You have an interview. All you have to do is book your interview on the platform. So if you go to your LMS, once you're a part of Tenalytics, on your dashboard at the right-hand side, you'd see interview prep. All you have to do is come in here, click on schedule appointment. You enter your name, select the program, select your cohorts. When did you join? August, September, October. You enter your job link. Okay, the link to the job you applied to. Details about the interview. All right. The interview stage. Is it the HR conversational stage? Is it a phone call? Is it the first level, second level, final level? Tell us the stage, the description. Pick a date that is suitable for you. For example, there's a date tomorrow. You select your date. Once you've selected the date, upload your CV and click on schedule interview prep session. Just like the way you all joined the call today, somebody would meet with you one-on-one to prepare you for that interview. And this is the game changer. Because if you work with somebody who has been in the space before, preparing you for the type of questions you're likely going to get, it significantly increases your chances of landing that job. So all the people that you see that get jobs, they have the interview prep plays a major role in helping them secure those opportunities. You have the reference letters. I talked about this. Every organization would want you to provide a reference to show that you've done this before. You've worked with Analytics. Analytics should send us a reference. Tell us the skills you have, what you did, the best way to manage you, and so on and so forth. On the job support, you're on the job, you find a particular project that is a bit difficult for you. We work with you, taking into consideration data privacy laws, and we help you ensure that you are able to do the right things for 1 month. We stay with you until you have a solid footing on that job. You have weekly mentorship sessions every single week. If you go to a typical class, so this is the platform where you have your, this is the LMS, where you watch your videos at your own convenience, the self-paced platform. So once you click on any of the programs, you can watch your videos at your convenience. You can log in, you have lifetime access to the LMS. Even people that joined us last year, 2022, 2021, we are bringing them back on the platform to join the LMS, okay? So you have access to this, and then you have your live classes. Your live classes is where you interact with your trainer, and this is where you also see your mentorship session. So this is the cohort that started in October, 5th of October. Their first mentorship session was on the 11th, the second mentorship session on the 18th, and the third mentorship session was on the 25th. So the first one was a recruitment series where we brought a recruitment consultant to talk to people and so on and so forth. And if you ever miss any of these sessions, the recordings are here. All you have to do is come in here, click on the link, watch the recording. Week 2 was how to deal with imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome is something you struggle with. Am I good enough? Can I apply to this job? Can I get the job? So Efemena took this session, and like I said, if you ever miss the session, you have access to the recording. And this is where Efemena would work. Efemena is the co-founder of Tenalytics, show you how to get past imposter syndrome, okay? What you need to do, and you always have access to these materials every single time because they're here in your classroom. The third week was on interview simulation. The interview simulation session is where we send you a job that we created. We tell you to apply, and we select people, we put them on the spot, and we ask you questions, just like you would have in a typical real-life interview. So what this does for you is you get that uncomfortable feeling of what it takes to be interviewed, and you build your interviewing, muscle, if you will, so that when you find yourself on that seat eventually, you know all the right things to do. Now, people would also be on this call, hundreds of people listening to the conversation, listening to the feedback that we give, and you also get learnings from there. So this was the interview simulation session. This happened last week, Thursday. So every single week, you have your interview simulation. This is somebody responding to a question. Her name is Bernadette Emadoye. Okay, the audio is muted, so that's why you can't hear her. So she was asked the question, she's answering the question, and that's the interview simulation. So you get the weekly mentorship sessions every single week. All right, and finally, you have your Upwork optimization. Okay, and all of these is what gets you the job at the end of the day. You don't have to be the best in the use of Excel, best in the use of Python. You need to be very good with the skills. But more importantly, you must have the employability skills. And that was how Rita was able to also get a COS from her current organization where she worked, and she was able to get a skilled worker visa. And this is Rita sending us a message. I spoke to my manager about the visa when the rules changed, but the HR pushed back and forth until they gave me my COS on Thursday. I applied for the visa on Saturday using the priority service, and today I got the decision. And this is Rita saying, Thank you so much. I'm grateful to Tenalytics because the program taught me SQL, which is what I used to get this fixed term contract. Thank you very, very much. So this is Rita giving her story. When the home office in the UK changed so many things with the Tier 2 skilled worker visa, they scrapped the shortage occupation list. They implemented the immigration salary list. You had care workers who could no longer bring in their dependents and so on. Now, Rita was able to secure her Tier 2 skilled worker visa because she had upskilled. I'm grateful I was able to get this because I had learned SQL at Tenalytics. That's very, very important. That's instructive. So because of the value she brought to the team, she was given a COS, a certificate of sponsorship, and she used that to apply for her skilled worker visa. And she even did the priority service so that if the home office does their madness and make any change eventually, she's not going to be involved and it's not going to affect her. All right. And that's Rita's story. I've kept a link as well, so you can read about this. I made a post on it on LinkedIn. So you can read about it, read about Rita's story, and so on. The next cohort starts on the 2nd of November. And this is the second to the last cohort for 2024. So every month from January up until this moment, we've had a cohort every single month. The next one is on the 2nd of November. And I have an amazing discount, like I mentioned, for everybody on the call today. Okay, so if you want to be a part of the program, get into any of the programs, the data analytics, the business analysis, data science, or you are not even sure, we're also going to have something we call the clarity session. So the clarity session is, I want to get into data analytics or data science. I'm not sure, but I want to secure my slots and have a conversation with Adeza, where Adeza will tell me categorically how I can get into any of these areas. Okay, I don't select what you do. I won't choose for you, but I'll guide you on how you get to make that choice. For those of you that are not sure, all right? So, but the most important thing is to take advantage of the discounts that we have coming for you. So the next cohort starts on the 2nd of November, and we have a discount to fill up the class for the next 20 people that will be joining from our session today. All right, so the fee to join any of the program is $750. But rather than paying $750, we have a discount where you get to pay just $600. So you have a $150 discount, whopping discount for you to get into the program. And the beauty is you don't need to make payments at once. You can make, once you take advantage of the discounts, you can make payments in multiple installments. And I'm going to walk you through, and that's my gift to you. My 2024 gift to you, end of the year gift, is helping you transition into the tech ecosystem and making it easy for you to get in as well. So I'm going to walk you through how to go about selecting the plan you are interested in. And then we're going to do a Q&A for the next 10, 15 minutes, and then we call it a day. So it's a whopping 20% discount, and the discount ends, registration generally ends on Wednesday. So the moment we get the first 20 people, the discount ends, or the moment we get to Wednesday, the 29th, the discount, I think Wednesday is 29th or 30th, the discount also ends. Okay, so whichever comes first, that Wednesday or Tuesday. 29th is Tuesday. So Tuesday is when registration ends, not Wednesday. I beg your pardon. So Tuesday is when the discount ends, discount closes, registration closes as well. So if you want to be a part of it, all you have to do is click on the link. My colleagues would share this in the chat as well. You'd also get this in your WhatsApp community and the community. If you've also filled the attendance form, you're also going to get all of these into, you get all of these materials as well. So if I click on this link, it takes me into the enrollment link. Okay, so it takes me into the enrollment center, and I'm just going to walk you through very quickly how you can get to register. So this is the enrollment center. And all you have to do, so you can chat with Analytics. Say you want to ask a question, you're trying to make payments, something is happening, the payment is not going through. You can come in here, click on chat with Analytics. It connects you to one of the customer service members on WhatsApp. They get to answer your question. You can access all the program brochures right here as well. So you want to see the brochure for different programs, you can access them here. So this is the discount we have. Instead of $750, you get to pay $600. And all you have to do is scroll down to the program you're interested in. So say I'm interested in cybersecurity, for example, or I'm interested in agile project management, or I'm interested in HR analytics. I'll click on the link, register for HR analytics, and it takes me to the payment page. And this is the beauty. You can make payments in multiple installments. You can either pay a one-time full payment of $600, the discounted fee, or pay 2 monthly payments of $300. You pay $300 this month in October, 27th of November, you pay the next $300. Or even better still, you have the 3 monthly payments of $200. So if I select this, for example, it means that I'll be making payments today, 27th of October, my next payment, 27th of November, and final payment in December. And that's the best thing you want to do. So it doesn't matter where you're paying from. If you're in the UK, you are in the US, you are in Canada, you are in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, you can make payments using the same link. So you get to make payments and you are debited in your local currency. All right. So $200 in the UK, for example, is roughly about £150. So which means if you pay your first installment, you get in the UK, you get debited about £150 thereabout. The next payment, 150, the next payment like that. Okay. So once you click on proceed to pay, you'll see your payment structure. I'm paying $200 today. I'm paying the other $200 in November. I'm paying the final in December. I click on proceed, and this takes me to where I enter my name, I enter my email, and I enter my phone number, and I click on pay for products. Then I enter my card details and so on and so forth. Once you've entered your card details, you click on confirm payments. You would receive an automated email into a confirmation into the email you've provided, and you'd also get a link to complete your registration. Okay, so that link is where you get to select when you want to start, because for some people you might have commitments. So you have commitments in November, you can't start on the 2nd of November. We have another cohort starting on the 7th of December. So maybe you want to start in December. Clicking on that link that would come into your email after confirming payment would get you into the cohort you want to start. And I'm going to show you what it looks like before we take questions. So the link will take you to this form. Okay, so the link will take you to this form, and you enter your email, you click on next, you select your type of payment. If you made an initial payment, full payment, you click on next. Yes, click on next. You're having the discounts, you click on next. You enter your first name, enter your last name, enter your Gmail, your gender, male or female, click on next. The terms and conditions you get to read. If you have any questions, you have the opportunity to send us an email, enquiries@analytics.io, or call us on any of these numbers, or send us a WhatsApp message to this number. So you get this link in your email automatically once you've completed your first payment. Say you've done the 3 monthly payment, you pay $200, you get the link, you fill this form. I just want to show you how you get to select when you want to start, and how you also get to indicate if you haven't made up your mind that I'm going for data science, pay for any of the programs. And while filling this form, I'll show you what to do. So when did you make payments? You select the dates when you make payments, how you make payments, upload the screenshots of your payment, click on next. the name on the account in which you used to make payment. Because for some people, they pay for their spouse. So a husband paid for the wife and vice versa. Or you paid for your brother, you paid for your sister, you paid for your girlfriend, and so on. So you want to indicate the name on the account so we can easily align that with your registration. So now, if you haven't made up your mind, you're not sure, you are torn between business analysis and data analytics. Rather than selecting a specific program, if you're sure, right away, select the program you're registering for. I'm registering for data engineering, for example. But if you're not sure, you select what? I need to speak with a professional. And during the week, we'll schedule a call with you, one-on-one session, and help you make that decision, okay, on the program to register. So maybe you want to talk about your past experience, you want to talk about other things. We'll then help you, guide you. We're not going to tell you that register for this, but we will guide you on how to make that decision eventually. All right. So once you click on I need to speak with a professional, we will help you with that. Click on next. You can also select when you want to start. So if you want to start the next cohort starting next week, Saturday, 2nd of November, you select that. Another cohort is on the 7th of December, and you have another on the 4th of January, 2025. So say you want to secure your discount, start in January, you can select that. Or you want to start in December, you select that. Enter all the other details, tell us where you're joining from, submit the form, and you are in the program, okay? That's how you get it done. So remember, the discount is for the first 20 people from this particular class. Okay, so you want to get in from January, you've been saying, I'll do it next month. This is the best time to start. All right, get started. Registration closes completely on Tuesday, 29th of October. All right, so I'm going to take questions before we call it a day. Maybe the next 10 minutes, we take questions and then we'll wrap up for today. Let me see. So somebody's asking in the chat, hope the scheduling of the call. So that's why I advise in therefore that you want to secure your slots, make that initial payment, and while filling the registration form indicates, I want to speak with a professional. Your discount is guaranteed if you do that. But if you schedule a call without making payments, you might just find out that at the end of the day, even though we've clarified, answered your question, and you're ready to pay, the discount is off. And rather than paying 200, 200, 200, which is 600, you'd have to pay 250, 250, 250, which is 750. I hope I answered that question. Somebody's asking salary for the financial analyst. I'm going to take you there shortly, Uche. Arjun is asking, what of those that want to do both? If you want to do both, fantastic, but you can't do the two at once. You have to do one and then move to the other. All right, you can't do one and move to the other. And it's also tricky because you want to, as a data analyst and as a financial analyst, you are learning similar technologies, Excel, for example, but the type of project you're going to work on as a financial analyst is different from the data analyst, even though you are learning the same tool like Excel. Okay, so what I always advise is make payments now for one. Once you are done with that, you move into the other one. Okay, you can't possibly do the two. The program is immersive and intensive as well. So you want to ensure that you complete one. You don't want to put yourself in a situation whereby you are scrambling, to swim. And at the end of the day, you get to sink because of the pressure of all the things you have to do. All right. Somebody's asking, can I register now and start in January? Absolutely. That was what I showed you just now. So when you make payment and register and you are filling the form, if you can see my screen again, I'm going to maximize it a little bit. So when do you want to start? The next cohort is on the 2nd of November. You can start 2nd of November. You can start 7th of December or 4th of January. That's when the cohort in January, the first cohort for 2025 would commence on the 4th of January, the first Saturday of the year. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. So what you'll be doing is using one stone to kill two birds. You secured your slot number one, which is a discount. And if whenever the price changes in January, it doesn't affect you anymore because you've secured your slot already. Let me see more questions. How about salary earners? Can the discounts be extended till the 1st? So the reason why you don't want to wait till the 1st to register is because you want to be ready on time. And what do I mean by that? So once you are onboarded into the platform, okay, one of the first things you see, like if you're in business analysis and you click on your program, you have week 0. Week 0 is your introduction. Your introduction is where you get to watch your installations, how to install Excel, how to install Power BI, how to install Power BI on Mac, on Windows, how to upload projects. So you have all these things in your week 0, how to create a profile. So ideally, we want you to watch all these videos on time, so you're not scrambling at the end of the day. So you want to give yourself at least 24 hours to 48 hours, 1 to 2 days to install all those things, and you come to class on Saturday. Okay, I hope that answers your question. I'm just looking at other questions. Adjo is asking again. So someone with an audit background, I recommend financial, the financial analytics program. It's a no-brainer, Adjo. It is a no-brainer. You want to get into financial analytics. You already have the background, you have the knowledge, the foundation. Just build on that, and you become a superstar. So when you are speaking to any recruiter out there, you are speaking to them with all the confidence in the world. So that reminds me, I'll take you back to the financial analytics salary. I know somebody had asked that question. All right, so let's answer that. So this is the average anyways. So average per annum based on the 3 major economies. In the UK, £51,000, Canada, almost 70,000 Canadian, and in the US, 74,000 US dollars, right? So I hope that answers the question. Okay, let me see more questions. So many questions. Can I pay in installments with a UK account? Absolutely, David. But you get to make payments using your card, credit or debit card. Okay, you make payments using your credit or your debit card. So all you have to do is use that link. All right. Once you go to the enrollment center, just like I showed, the enrollment center, just like I showed you, select the program you're interested in. Once you selected the program, it takes you to the payment page, and you do what? You can make your payment. Now, if you don't have a credit or debit card and you want to do a transfer to an account, you have to send us a direct email. Okay, so I'm going to write that email on my screen right now. So you might want to take the email down, David. So if you want to make a transfer, you want to send an email to finance@10analytics.io. Okay, finance@10analytics.io, 10, 10. So this is 10, analytics.io. Okay, so send an email to us, say that, oh, I don't have a credit or debit card, I can't make payments using the link, I want to do a direct transfer. The only issue with the direct transfer is, and you have to pay in pounds, and the pounds amount is a bit higher. So the dollar amount is 600 USD. Okay, if you are doing payments in pounds, directly in pounds, and not paying using the link. So if you check any converter, currency converter, $600 is roughly around, say, 400 is less than 460 pounds, but let's say 460 pounds. But if you are paid in pounds directly, you have to pay 500 GBP. Okay, which is more than you would have paid if you use your credit or debit card. So it's cheaper for you to use the installment link to make payments. That's easier and it's cheaper. So if you have to pay doing a direct transfer, David, you'd have to pay 500 pounds. You pay 300 pounds and then you balance up 200 pounds a month after. All right. So that's why it's good and it's best for you to make payments using the direct, the link for you to make your payments in installments. I hope I answered that question, David. Somebody's asking, are the certificates internationally recognized? Absolutely. We used to be in the UK. We moved to Canada this year, like I mentioned in January. We are registered in Edmonton, Alberta. And like I mentioned, our participants work in the best organizations. The only way you get jobs, and getting a reference from us is simply because we have the reputation, we provide you with that reference, and our participants work in the best of the best organizations, from Revolut to the NHS to Fraser's Group, HSBC, Cognizant in the UK, the Post Office, Autoglass, Belron, and so on and so forth. All right. And all the professionals, you get to see them. And I'll show you before I forget. All right. I'll show you how to access all the videos from the testimonial so you can get to watch and listen to them yourself. Muideen, for example, Muideen is in Ibadan, Nigeria, and he works for a company in the UK remotely. Abdul Rashid is in Abuja, in Nigeria, works for a company remotely in the US as a data scientist. Ramat works with the NHS. A job came with full visa sponsorship. Tony works with the NHS, full visa sponsorship. All right. So this shows you, gives you the proof that the certificates are not just internationally recognized, but organizations want our participants because of the skills that they bring to the table. But one thing you must also realize for the person who asked that question is, when transitioning, this should be your watchword. Your watchword should be what? Competence over credentials. We've been chasing certificates in Africa forever. How far has it taken you? Or how far has it taken us? Nobody cares about your degree. Nobody cares about your master's. Nobody cares about your certificates. They care about your competence. What can you do? What are your skills and your experience? That's what your competence is all about. And that's why today's session centered around building experience by working on projects. Nobody's going to ask you, what certificates do you have? Or how did you write the exam? What was the exam like? Nobody cares. The question they ask you is, tell me about a time you have managed a process automation project and how were you able to manage difficult stakeholders? That's experience. If you have never done it before, you're going to struggle to answer that question. So at Tenalytics, this is our watchword for anybody transitioning: competence over credentials. You must build your skills, build your experience before you ever think of anything certification. I have 0 certification and I've been doing this for over a decade. Okay, so we've been doing the same thing over and over again. It doesn't work for us because everybody chases paper rather than chasing the skills and chasing the experience. Anybody can write exams for people. And these employers, they know that certifications are not the best measure for competence. So nobody cares about that. I have a master's too from the UK. I have never been asked before. Nobody cares about my master's in big data science and technology, but it's just a nice to have. All right. It's a feel good. When you introduce yourself, oh, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I have a master's in big data science and technology from the UK. You talk about things like that as a feel good, your bragging rights, but no recruiter would care about that when hiring you. Okay, I hope I answered that question. I'm seeing, if I pay for one, do you have access to another one or do you have to pay again? So every Tenalytics alumni has a 5% every Tenalytics alumnus, I beg your pardon, has a 5% re-enrollment fee. So if you've come for any of our programs and you want to come for another one, you have a discount automatically, additional 5%. I'm going to call it a day at this point. I think I've answered as many questions as possible. I'm trying to see if we have more questions. I know you have a lot of questions, no doubt about that. Take advantage of the discounts, register. You don't need to know the specific program you want to join, but you know that you want to get into the tech ecosystem. That's what you're sure about. You always wanted to get into data analytics or data science or data engineering. You want to compete for the best jobs, the jobs that are progressive, that will get you to a career path where you can see the progression of where you'll be and you stay relevant. Once you lock in the discounts, you are filling the form, select I want to speak with a professional, and all those questions you have, we answer those questions. Oh, I'm in the medical background. We have doctors who got jobs as pathology data analysts. We have lawyers who transitioned into business analysis and so on and so forth. So your background doesn't stop you from transitioning. So the last thing we'll do for today, I'm going to show you how to get access to our YouTube page. So once you go on YouTube, search for Tenalytics on YouTube, okay? Search for Tenalytics, go to Tenalytics, follow Tenalytics, subscribe to Tenalytics, all right? So once you search for Tenalytics, one of the videos you'd see, this is Oluwafikayo. Oluwafikayo got a job, 1 month to the end of our program. So she had done 3 months with us in a 4 months program, and she was able to land a job. So you'd see all the videos, the ones I have on my slides, they're all here on YouTube. So if I click on the Tenalytics page, you'd also get to see videos that sessions we've held over the last 4 years. You have access to all the materials. What I'm interested in are testimonials, right? I want to listen to Lois. I want to listen to Ngozi, who got a job as a business analyst. I want to listen to this gentleman who got a job as a data scientist. I want to listen to this professional who got a job as well. I got a job 2 months into my internship. So you click on testimonials and you have the opportunity to listen to all these professionals, one after the other, people that have done the things you're trying to do. They've gone through Tenalytics and they've got immense value. You want to listen to Vivian, for example. Vivian worked remotely for a company in France after completing our data analytics, our data science program, and she moved to the UK, and she's currently an assistant manager in the data analytics department in the company where she works. You want to listen to Bola Joko. Bola Joko got a job as a financial analyst after completing the financial analytics program, and there are tons of them. Stephen got a job in Scotland with Hastings Direct after completing the program. You have so many professionals, okay? So you have tons and tons of videos. Oluwadamilare got a job as a sustainability data analyst. You get to hear his story, and numerous people. This is Abigail, who was a care worker in Canada, now a business analyst. And that's how you get access to all the videos that we have here on YouTube. Eventually, the video for today's session would also be posted. Okay, so once you expect the videos in your WhatsApp group, if you've indicated you fill the attendance form, you also get them here on YouTube. So you can see all the videos we've had, the sessions I've taken. How do you land a high-paying job? Negotiating salaries. Where do you find visa-sponsored jobs? Secure jobs in the UK. So you watch all these sessions we've had, practical sessions using Python as a data scientist, data engineer, and you have access to all these videos. 4 years worth of videos since 2020 till date. All right. So take advantage of that and you have access. Follow us on social media, follow us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll be very happy to engage with you. So you're one of the first people that get to see the updates on the new things we have to implement. You didn't post videos for the last session. I'm sure if you come on YouTube, all the videos you want, you'd find them here. Do you accept Naira? Absolutely. Naira for those in Nigeria, okay? So it's automatic. If you click on the link, it would show you the currency based on your location, all right? So it does the conversion automatically. So on the enrollment page, you'd see the NGN installment, the Naira installment is a direct conversion from the dollar fee into the Naira. And if you're in Nigeria, once you click on this, it opens up. I'm not in Nigeria, so if I click on this, I still see it in US dollars. Okay, it's still going to show me in dollars, but if you're in Nigeria, you get to see the Naira equivalent. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. I hope you got value. You got value for your time today. Type in a yes into the chat before we wrap up. Type in a yes if you got value for your time. Fantastic. Sweetie Grace says, God bless you too, Sweetie Grace. Thanks for that. So much value, absolutely phenomenal. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful week ahead. For those in the UK, it's no longer, the British summertime is gone. So you have fewer hours now. And that's amazing. Anyways, I know Canada will also change very soon. We look forward to having you join the program, take advantage of the discounts, and see you some other time. See you in class, 2nd of November, and have a productive week ahead. Cheers, everybody. Until I see you again, have an amazing time.